stop right there, my child, because what I am about to say is not the ending you thought was coming. You've been asking me to remove the pain, close the chapter, break the cycle, but I'm about to reveal something deeper, something sharper, something holy, and if you miss this, you may miss the very shift your soul has been crying out for. Stay with me all the way through this message, because the surprise is not just what I'm ending. It's what I'm ending inside you before I change what's around you. Do not click away too early. Do not treat this like another passing word, and do not let distraction steal what heaven arranged for this exact moment. Listen closely, because by the time this message is over, you will understand why this ending had to come, and why you were never meant to walk back into the same version of yourself again. My child, you came into this moment thinking I was about to speak to you about one obvious thing, and I know why. You have been carrying something heavy for so long that you naturally assumed the first thing I would do is remove the visible burden. You thought I was finally going to say that I am ending the struggle you can name, the pressure you can describe, the person who hurt you, the season that drained you, the waiting that exhausted your heart. And yes, I am dealing with what has been pressing against your life. But what you did not see coming is that I am reaching for something even deeper than the problem you have been staring at. I am not only ending what has been happening around you, I am ending what that pain has slowly been building inside you. I am ending the version of you that learned to survive by expecting less. I am ending the inner agreement you made with disappointment after so many prayers seemed delayed. I am ending the way your heart learned to brace itself before every hopeful moment, as if joy needed to be handled carefully because it might vanish if you held it too openly. You did not become this way overnight, and I want you to know that I am not speaking to you with judgment. I understand how you got here. I saw every closed door that taught you to lower your expectations. I saw every silence that made you wonder if it was safer not to hope too deeply. I saw every time you smiled while quietly preparing yourself for the possibility that something good would not last. That kind of pain changes how a person moves through life. It makes you cautious in places where you once were open. It makes you guarded in places where you once were trusting. It makes you call self-protection wisdom when, in truth, it is often unhealed sorrow trying not to be wounded again. So when I say I am ending something, I want you to understand that I am not just talking about the external pressure. I am talking about the internal adaptation that pressure created. I am talking about the way you began shrinking your own expectations to make disappointment hurt less. I am talking about the way you stopped letting yourself fully imagine the future because the past had trained you to expect interruption. I am talking about the quiet numbness that settled over your spirit, not because you stopped caring, but because caring felt costly. I am talking about the emotional caution that became so normal to you that you forgot you were carrying it. You thought I was coming first for the storm, but I am also coming for the posture you developed while trying to survive it. I am touching the places where fear disguised itself as maturity. I am reaching into the hidden spaces where you started believing that if you stayed emotionally small, you could stay safe. And I need you to hear this with all your heart. You were never created to live like that. You were never meant to call constant inner tension normal. You were never meant to live with one hand open to me and the other hand quietly protecting yourself from the possibility that I might not come through in the way you hoped. I have been patient with you because I know the road that brought you here. I know what it feels like when life teaches you to celebrate carefully, trust slowly, and prepare for loss before love has even fully arrived. But this is the moment where I begin undoing that. This is why this feels so personal. This is why something in you feels unsettled as you hear these words. Because you thought I was going to announce the end of one chapter out there in the world, while I have already started ending the chapter that has been silently running inside you. And once that chapter closes, you're going to realize that the most exhausting thing in your life was not only what happened to you, it was what those repeated wounds convinced you to become in order to keep functioning. I am not angry at that version of you. I am not ashamed of your coping. I am not disappointed that you learned how to protect yourself when you were hurting. I am simply telling you that you do not have to live there anymore. I am ending the agreement you made with fear. I am ending the expectation of collapse that has followed your joy. I am ending the reflex that tells you to pull back the moment something starts to feel good. I am ending the part of you that got so used to surviving that peace now feels unfamiliar. You may not have seen this coming, but I did not bring you here just to change your surroundings. I brought you here to restore your heart so completely that when the new season opens, you will not enter it as the same wounded person asking for relief. You will enter it as someone I have been healing from the inside out, someone who no longer needs to live like loss is always waiting nearby. That is the ending you did not expect, and that is why it is so holy. I want you to stay close to me in this part, because if you rush past what I am saying, you might miss how deeply I am loving you right now. You may have spent so much time asking me to remove the visible pain that you never realized how much invisible pain had become part of your daily identity. You became the one who could keep going even while carrying too much. You became the one who could still function while feeling emotionally tired. You became the one who learned how to smile, respond, work, help others, and make it through the day, even when something inside you was quietly depleted. And because you adapted so well, even you stopped recognizing how much this season had taken from you. You called it being realistic. You called it being stronger now. You called it learning not to expect too much. But my child, there is a difference between wisdom and wounded restraint, and I need you to see that with me now. Wisdom is peaceful. Wisdom can wait without hardening. Wisdom can trust without forcing. Wisdom can hold uncertainty without losing tenderness. What you have been carrying in many moments was not peace. It was tension disguised as control. It was caution built from pain. It was your heart trying to protect itself from another heartbreak by becoming less reachable, less expressive, less vulnerable. I know you did not choose that in one dramatic moment. It happened slowly. A disappointment here, a betrayal there, a door that looked promising and then suddenly closed, a prayer that seemed to echo in silence longer than you thought you could bear, a relationship that made you question your worth, a season that stretched so long it started changing how you saw yourself. And eventually you began making quiet internal decisions that no one else heard. You told yourself not to get too excited. You told yourself not to trust too quickly. You told yourself not to imagine too much. You told yourself to be grateful for little pieces because expecting more might break your heart again. And because those decisions felt practical, you did not notice that they were slowly building walls inside you. This is why I am speaking so tenderly but so clearly. I am not just announcing a breakthrough. I am calling your heart out of survival mode. I am not just ending a bad season. I am ending the emotional architecture that season built in you. I am dismantling the rooms inside you where fear has been living rent-free. I am taking apart the quiet assumptions that made you believe disappointment was more likely than delight. I am pulling down the internal scaffolding that kept you upright but never truly let you rest. You do not need to hold yourself together the same way anymore. You do not need to keep managing your own hope like it is dangerous. You do not need to keep shrinking your expectations to protect yourself from pain. I am not saying every part of the future will be easy. I am saying you will not have to enter it carrying this old internal arrangement. That is what I am ending. And I know part of you may still resist that because old survival patterns can feel safer than freedom at first. Sometimes when a heart has lived under pressure for too long, peace can feel unfamiliar enough to make you suspicious. You may wonder if it is real. You may wonder if this calm will last. You may wonder if you should still keep part of yourself guarded, just in case. I understand that. I am not asking you to force yourself into instant trust. I am asking you to stay with me while I teach your heart how to breathe again. I am asking you to let me show you that you are allowed to receive without immediately bracing for loss. I am asking you to let me reveal how much of your exhaustion came not only from the battle itself, but from the constant internal effort of trying to stay prepared for more pain. That effort has worn you down more than you realize. It has shaped your reactions, your relationships, your decisions, even the way you speak to yourself when no one is listening. And now I am standing in the middle of that hidden place, not to shame you but to free you. I am not saying, why did you become this way? I am saying, you do not have to carry this anymore. I am not exposing your hidden weariness to condemn it. I am touching it because I intend to heal it. The ending I am bringing is not just the end of a hard chapter. It is the end of the internal climate that chapter created in you. It is the end of waking up already emotionally braced. It is the end of calling numbness peace. It is the end of assuming you must stay small to stay safe. It is the end of letting yesterday's losses dictate tomorrow's emotional range. I am ending what has been ending you slowly, quietly, and invisibly. And when you begin to feel the difference, it may not come with thunder. It may come in subtle ways at first. A calmer response where anxiety once rose quickly. A softer heart where defensiveness once took over. A willingness to imagine something good without immediately shutting it down. A sense that your spirit is not clenching the way it used to. That is how you will know I have already begun. The surprise is not only that I am moving. The surprise is how deeply I have chosen to move. I am not only changing what you can point to. I am restoring the inner world from which you live. And when I finish what I have started, you will understand that the most beautiful thing I ended was never just the problem in front of you. It was the silent agreement inside you that said survival was the best you could expect. The agreement is ending now. My child, before you look for a sign around you, I want you to let your attention settle for a moment on what has been happening inside you, because that is where I have already begun. You have spent so much time watching the outside of your life that you almost miss the quiet place where the deepest change has started. You have been looking at the delayed answer, the strained relationship, the uncertainty in front of you, the pressure in your finances, the fatigue in your body, the instability around your future. You have been measuring your season by what you can see, and I understand that because visible pain demands visible attention. But come closer now. Stay here with me. Listen carefully. Let your heart slow down and let these words sit inside you, because the first thing I am ending is not the loud problem you can name. It is the silent atmosphere that has been surrounding your soul. It is the hidden heaviness that followed you into ordinary moments. It is the tension you carried into rooms where nothing was even wrong, because your spirit had learned to expect disruption before peace had a chance to settle. You may not have had language for it. You may have simply called it stress, maturity, responsibility, realism, caution, or just life being hard. But I know exactly what it has been. I have watched the subtle ways it shaped you. I have seen how you became emotionally alert before the day even started. I have seen how your mind stayed on guard even during moments that should have felt gentle. I have seen how you checked the emotional weather before allowing yourself to breathe, as if one unexpected shift could undo everything. That invisible burden has been real, and I need you to hear me with tenderness now. I am ending it. Not later. Not after everything around you becomes perfect. I am touching it now. I am reaching into the hidden place where anxiety has been whispering, where dread has been quietly sitting in the corner, where exhaustion hath been pretending to be normal. And I am telling you to release it. Lay it down. Stop defending it. Stop calling it wisdom when it is really weariness. Stop carrying it like it belongs to you. Let me have it. Give me the version of you that has been bracing for impact. Give me the version of you that learned to scan every situation for signs of loss. Give me the private heaviness that even your closest people do not fully understand. I am not asking for a polished surrender. I am asking for an honest one. Bring me the tired heart. Bring me the overworked mind. Bring me the quiet panic that flares up when things get too calm because part of you no longer trusts peace. You do not need to impress me with how well you have held it together. You do not need to explain why it got this way. I already know. I was there when the disappointment landed. I was there when the trust broke. I was there when the delay stretched so long that your inner world began rearranging itself around uncertainty. That is why I am speaking to you with such intimacy now. I am not only aware of what happened to you, I am aware of what it did to you. And because I am your father, I do not only care about the storm outside your house, I care about the weather inside your heart. That is where I am moving first. That is why this section of your story matters so much. If I only changed what people can see, you might still carry the same invisible atmosphere into every blessing I place in your hands. You might enter a new season with old reflexes. You might stand in a peaceful room while still listening for the sound of collapse. I love you too much to let that happen. So I am dealing with what is invisible first. I am ending the emotional fog that made every day feel heavier than it needed to. I am ending the subtle sadness that sat beneath your smile. I am ending the quiet inner ache that made you feel tired even when you had technically rested. This is holy work, and it is happening where no one else can applaud it. That is why you must not rush. Stay with me. Receive this. Let this land. Do not treat this like a passing thought. This is not just comfort. This is a cure. This is not just encouragement. This is a shift. This is not just a warm feeling. This is me placing my hand on the invisible weight and saying, enough. You do not get to live here anymore. And yes, you may feel this before you can explain it. You may notice the change in small ways first. A softer mourning, a steadier breath, a calmer response, a moment where your mind does not race toward the worst case, a night where your soul finally loosens its grip. Pay attention to that. Under that, do not dismiss it. That is me. That is the first sign that what was invisible is losing its hold. That is the first crack in the hidden pressure. That is the beginning of freedom in the place where only you and I have truly been. And I want you to understand something even deeper, because this is where many of my children miss the miracle. They pray for me to remove the mountain, and I do move mountains. But sometimes the first thing I remove is the voice inside them that has been living as if the mountain defines the rest of their life. That is what I am doing with you. I am not ignoring the outer burden. I am simply refusing to let the outer burden remain the architect of your inner world. That invisible pattern has had too much influence over how you think, how you trust, how you expect, how you react, how you love, how you rest, and even how you pray. You have been coming to me with real needs, but underneath many of those prayers there had been another layer, quieter and deeper, a hidden ache saying, please do not let me be disappointed again. I have heard that prayer too. I have heard the one beneath the words. I have heard the tremble under the faith. I have heard the exhaustion beneath the brave face. I have heard the places where you were still asking me for help while also trying not to fully hope, because hope felt expensive. My child, I want you to let this truth settle into your bones. I am not offended by your caution, but I am calling you out of it. I am not angry that pain made you guarded, but I am not leaving you there. I am not disappointed that repeated loss made you careful, but I am inviting you to step out of the narrow room where fear hath been keeping you. Come out. Open the door. Step into the wider place. Breathe deeper. Let your soul stretch. Stop standing at the threshold of peace like it might reject you. Walk in. Sit down. Stay there. Let me retrain your heart in gentleness. Let me show you that the future is not required to resemble the worst parts of your past. Let me prove to you that just because something once collapsed does not mean everything beautiful is temporary. That is why I am ending what is invisible. I am ending the suspicion that follows peace. I am ending the quiet dread that tries to sit beside joy. I am ending the reflex that tells you to emotionally pull back the moment something starts to feel safe. I am ending the habit of rehearsing bad outcomes before I have even finished opening a door. I am ending the constant inner calculation that has made your spirit feel like it is always working, always scanning, always preparing. You were not created to live like a guard standing watch over your own heart every hour of the day. You were created to dwell with me. You were created to rest with me. You were created to walk with a steadiness that does not depend on constant control. So listen to me now and receive this like medicine. Your healing will not always arrive with noise. Sometimes it comes like quiet light. Sometimes it comes like a deep exhale. Sometimes it comes like a subtle shift in the way you carry yourself through an ordinary afternoon. Sometimes it comes like the realization that the thought that once haunted you no longer has the same power. That is still miracle. That is still my hand. That is still breakthrough. Do not overlook the quiet ways I move just because the world taught you to expect only dramatic signs. Heaven often enters softly before it changes everything. And I want you to cooperate with me in this. Say yes to the subtle healing. Welcome the calm. Stop resisting the gentleness because it does not look dramatic enough. Let the peace stay. Do not question every moment of relief as if it must be a trick. Receive it. Bless it. Sit in it. Build with it. I am restoring the inner room where your thoughts live. I am cleansing the air in the place where your emotions have been suffocating. I am opening windows in the soul space that has felt closed for too long. I am bringing light into corners you stopped visiting because they held too much sadness. And as I do this, you will begin to feel less haunted by the invisible. That low-level fear, that subtle sadness, that emotional static, that background burden that made everything harder than it needed to be. It will begin to lose its language in you. It will not know how to live in the atmosphere I am creating. This is why I told you that what I am ending first is invisible. Because the deepest prisons are often hidden, and the holiest freedom often begins where nobody else can see it. Stay here with me. Let me finish what I have started. Do not rush ahead looking for external proof before you honor the internal shift. The evidence is already beginning. Your heart knows it. Your spirit feels it. The room inside you is changing, and once the invisible burden lifts, the visible world will not have the same power over you again. My child, as I end what has been invisible within you, I am also igniting a light that must reach beyond you. What I am doing in your soul is not meant to stay hidden. It is meant to become oil for lamps that are going out in others. When you give, you are sowing into unseen soil, and I have declared, what is done in secret, I will reward openly. This is not a small act. This is a divine exchange where your obedience becomes someone else's breakthrough. I am inviting you now, yes, you, to partner with me in carrying this word further than your own voice can reach. Let your seed become a river that flows into dry places, awakening hearts that are still waiting for me. As you release your offering through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, the link is in the description, I will release provision, protection, and multiplied peace over your life. Do not delay what I am prompting. This is your moment. Act now. My child, I know how many times you looked at your life and quietly wondered if I was holding you back. I know how many moments you stood in the middle of unanswered questions and tried to make sense of the silence. You watched other people move forward. You watched doors open for others. You saw opportunities come and go, seasons change, relationships form, resources appear, answers arrive for people who did not seem to be carrying what you were carrying. And somewhere in the private space of your heart, you began asking me what I was doing with you. You did not always say it out loud, but I heard it. I heard the ache in the prayer. I heard the confusion in the waiting. I heard the frustration you tried to soften with polite words. I heard the weary thought that asked, why does it feel like my life keeps pausing when I am trying so hard to move? And because I love you, I need to answer you now with clarity. I was not delaying you the way you thought. I was not standing in front of your future with folded arms, watching you struggle, asking you to prove something to me. I was not punishing you. I was not teasing you with hope and then pulling it away. I was not forgetting you while I remembered everyone else. What you called delay was often protection with a quiet face. What you called silence was often surgery beneath the surface. What you called being stuck was often me refusing to let you enter the next room carrying a wound that would have poisoned the very thing you prayed for. I need you to really take that in. Let it settle. Do not just nod at it and move on. Sit with it. If I had opened certain doors when you begged me to, you would have walked through them with old pain still shaping your reactions. You would have called it blessing, but you would have brought unhealed fear into it. You would have stepped into answered prayer while still interpreting everything through the lens of previous disappointment. You would have reached for what you wanted, but inside you still would have been braced for it to collapse. That is not the future I wanted for you. I was not interested in handing you something new while the old ache still had authority over your nervous system, your thoughts, your expectations, your emotional reflexes, your sense of worth. I wanted the gift and the inner capacity to hold the give it to arrive together. I wanted peace to come with the opportunity. I wanted healing to arrive with the relationship. I wanted wholeness to walk in with the provision. I wanted your inner life to stop sabotaging what your outer life was praying for. That is why some things took longer than you expected. Not because I enjoy watching you wait. Not because your tears meant nothing. Not because your longing was inconvenient to me. Your longing mattered deeply. Your tears mattered deeply. Your waiting mattered deeply. I counted every night you stared into the dark wondering if I was still moving. I counted every morning you got up with a tired soul and kept going anyway. I counted every time you obeyed me while feeling confused. I counted every prayer that felt fragile in your mouth because disappointment had made your voice quieter. None of it was wasted. The waiting was not empty. The delay was not dead space. I was there, doing what only I can do in places you cannot see. I was clearing paths you would have called good but that would have broken you. I was closing doors that looked promising but carried hidden pain. I was slowing your feet because your heart needed more healing than you realized. I was not trying to keep you from your future. I was keeping your future from being destroyed by the parts of you that still needed restoration. That is a father's love. That is not denial. That is design. That is not rejection. That is rescue. And I want you to stop accusing yourself for not understanding it sooner. Release that burden. Stop replaying the old questions as if you failed because you felt confused. You were human in the waiting. You were tired in the waiting. You were sincere in the waiting. Come here now, and let me reframe the whole season for you. Look again. The pause was not punishment. The slowdown was not abandonment. The delay was not evidence that you were forgotten. It was evidence that I was being careful with your life. It was evidence that I refused to give you a quick answer at the cost of a damaged future. It was evidence that I love you enough to say not yet when you were asking for right now. And I know that was painful. I know it. But hear me clearly. Some of the things you are thanking me for now would have crushed the version of you that existed when you first asked. That is why I waited. That is why I held back. That is why I kept working in secret while you thought nothing was happening. I was not delaying you. I was deepening you. Now I want to take you even further into this, because there is something in your spirit that still needs permission to stop grieving the timing as if it was all loss. Some part of you still looks back at the waiting season and feels robbed. Some part of you still wonders how much farther along you would be if certain things had happened sooner. Some part of you still compares your timeline to someone else's visible progress and quietly questions whether you lost years you can never get back. My child, come close and listen to me carefully. Do not let comparison narrate your story. Do not let impatience rewrite what I was doing. Do not let the enemy convince you that slow means forgotten. I need you to release the fantasy that earlier would have automatically meant better. It would not have. Earlier might have meant more fragile. Earlier might have meant more reactive. Earlier might have meant you got what you wanted, but did not yet have the emotional maturity, spiritual stability, or healed self-understanding to steward it. Earlier might have looked like success to others while secretly becoming strain to you. I was not withholding because I was reluctant. I was timing because I was wise. And now that I am speaking this to you, I want you to begin treating the waiting season with holy respect instead of private resentment. It was painful, yes. It was confusing, yes. It stretched you in ways you never would have chosen. But it also revealed things that needed to be seen. It exposed the places where fear still made decisions. It uncovered the hidden dependence you had on outcomes. It brought your unspoken grief to the surface. It showed you how much of your identity had been tied to visible progress. It taught you what was still fragile. It revealed where you were trying to outrun pain by chasing movement. It made you sit still long enough to hear what your soul had been whispering underneath all the striving. That season did not merely delay your life. It diagnosed your heart. And because I am your father, I do not rush past what is wounded just to make the outside look impressive. I care too much about what is real. I care too much about who you become. I care too much about the inner foundation that will hold the next season up when pressure comes. So receive this invitation now. Stop fighting the story of the wait. Stop resisting the lesson hidden in the slowdown. Stop telling yourself that the years were stolen when many of them were sacred. Let me redeem the way you see it. Let me show you the fingerprints of my mercy in the places you once called delay. Let me teach you how to honor the season that prepared you instead of resenting it for not looking like movement. And I want you to respond to me actively here. Do not stay passive. Open your hands. Say, Father, show me what you were protecting. Ask me that. Invite me into your memory. Let me revisit those old doors with you. Let me reveal what you did not know at the time. Let me show you the hidden fractures in the thing you begged me for. Let me uncover the pressure I spared you from. Let me reveal the relationships that would have drained you, the opportunities that would have hollowed you out, the environments that would have rewarded your talent while worsening your wounds. I can do that. I can heal your interpretation of your own timeline. And once that healing begins, you will stop seeing the waiting as proof that you were behind. You will begin seeing it as proof that I was faithful enough not to rush your life into something that looked good but was not yet good for you. That is where peace returns. That is where trust deepens. That is where you stop measuring yourself by speed and start measuring your life by alignment. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not disqualified because it took longer. You are arriving with more depth than you would have had otherwise. You are stepping into what comes next with less illusion, less desperation, less self-betrayal, and more truth. That matters. It matters more than you know. So stop apologizing for your process. Stop mourning your pace as if it proves weakness. Stop looking at your journey through the lens of urgency alone. I am still writing. I am still arranging. I am still opening. I am still leading. And now that you understand the delay differently, you can walk forward differently too. Not as someone trying to catch up in panic, but as someone who knows that even the pauses were part of the promise. My child, I need you to stay very close to me in this part, because this is where something old finally loses its right to follow you. You have lived through a pattern that became so familiar, you almost mistook it for your identity. It was not always obvious at first. It did not always announce itself with loud drama. Sometimes it came dressed like another almost. Another door that looked promising and then suddenly shut. Another relationship that seemed safe until it wasn't. Another opportunity that got close enough to awaken your hope, only to leave you wondering why it slipped away again. Another season where you thought, maybe this is it, and then you found yourself back in that same weary place, trying to explain to your own heart why things fell apart one more time. That kind of repeated disappointment leaves marks, even when you keep moving. It teaches you to manage your expectations. It trains your spirit to flinch before joy fully lands. It whispers to you in subtle ways and tells you not to get too attached, not to celebrate too early, not to trust what looks good too quickly. And because it happened more than once, the pattern started to feel normal. You may not have said it out loud, but part of you began to expect interruption. Part of you began to assume that if something felt promising, it might also be temporary. You learned how to carry hope with a hand half open, as if full expectation was dangerous. I know that. I saw every moment it formed. I saw every almost that left you confused. I saw every time you looked around and tried to understand why the same kind of pain kept showing up wearing different clothes. It was not always the same people. It was not always the same circumstances. But it carried the same ache. It carried the same emotional aftertaste. It left you asking the same hidden questions about your worth, your timing, your future, your ability to trust what is in front of you. And now I am bringing you to the line where that pattern stops. This is not just another chapter. This is not another attempt. This is not another cycle disguised as a new beginning. This is the breaking point. This is where the old rhythm loses its hold. This is where the familiar fracture no longer gets to write the ending. And I want you to participate with me in this. Do not just listen passively. Come into agreement with what I am doing. Open your heart and say to me, Father, I refuse to call this cycle normal anymore. Say that. Let your spirit hear it. Let your body hear it. Let the places in you that adapted to disappointment hear it. You are not trapped in repetition. You are not destined to relive the same emotional script with different details. You are not condemned to stand in front of another almost and call it maturity to expect less. I am breaking the pattern at its root. I am not only stopping the visible outcome. I am severing the hidden agreement that made the cycle easier to repeat. I am dealing with the fear that unconsciously cooperated with it. I am touching the wounds that made you choose familiar pain over unfamiliar peace. I am exposing the places where your heart settled for what felt emotionally recognizable, even when it was draining you, because it was easier than trusting what was truly new. Let me be plain with you, my child. Some cycles continue because the outside remains unchanged. Some cycles continue because the inside still expects them. That is why I have been speaking so deeply to your inner world. I am not content to just stop one event. I am ending the atmosphere that kept inviting the same sorrow in. And yes, this may feel unsettling at first. When a pattern breaks, there is often a strange silence afterward. Your mind may look for the next disappointment because it has grown used to scanning for it. Your emotions may brace themselves because they have practiced that posture for so long. But stay with me. Do not run back to what is familiar just because freedom feels unfamiliar. Do not interpret peace as vulnerability. Do not sabotage calm because chaos once felt easier to predict. Stand still with me in the new space. Let the old noise fade. Let the old script fall silent. Let the old assumptions lose their voice. You are not at the mercy of what used to happen. You are not bound to the pattern just because it repeated. I am your father, and I am telling you that what has followed you for years can stop in one holy moment when you and I finally address it at the root. This is that moment. This is that line in the sand. This is that quiet but fierce interruption where heaven says, no farther. And when I say the pattern breaks here, I mean here, in this very place where you are listening, where your heart is open, where your spirit is beginning to realize that what once felt inevitable was never truly permanent. That is why I brought you here, not just to comfort you, but to cut the cord. Not just to soothe the wound, but to stop the repetition. Not just to tell you it will be okay, but to show you that the old cycle is losing breath right now. Now let me take you deeper, because once a pattern begins to break, your heart has to learn how to live without expecting the old ending. That is not as simple as it sounds. Sometimes the hardest part of healing is not the pain itself. It is adjusting to the absence of the pain you got used to managing. When you have lived through enough repeated disappointment, your nervous system starts predicting it. Your mind begins to rehearse it before it happens. Your heart tries to soften the impact in advance. That is why even when I begin to move, you may feel hesitant. You may question the peace. You may wonder if this new door is real. You may feel the urge to hold back emotionally, just in case. I am not shaming that response. I am gently retraining it. Come here. Let me teach you another way to live. Let me show you that not every beginning leads to the same ending. Let me prove to you that your future is not required to repeat your history. You have been carrying invisible memory in your reactions. That is why some things triggered fear before they even became a problem. That is why your joy sometimes felt fragile before anyone touched it. That is why you could be standing in front of a good thing and still feel tension moving through you. But now I am asking you to stop, breathe, and let me lead you into a different posture. Do not rush ahead with suspicion. Do not close your heart before I have even opened the next chapter. Do not call it wisdom to stay half available emotionally. Let me widen your capacity. Let me strengthen your trust. Let me rebuild the parts of you that once thought disappointment was more likely than delight. This is where the pattern truly breaks, not only in events, but in expectation. That matters more than you realize. Because if the event changes but the expectation does not, you can still carry the old prison into a new room. I am not leading you into a new room with old chains. I am not opening a new door while leaving the same emotional lock on your heart. I am changing both. I am changing what happens around you, and I am changing how you stand inside it. That is why this moment is so sacred. It is not flashy. It is not loud, but it is decisive. It is the kind of shift that changes the architecture of your life. And I want you to cooperate with it. Speak life over the place where you once expected loss. Say, this cycle does not own me. Say, I will not return to familiar fear. Say, I choose trust over old tension. Do it. Not because words alone create the miracle, but because agreement matters. Your spirit needs to hear you align with me. Your heart needs to hear you stop defending the old pain as if it still deserves a room in your life. Invite me into the hidden places. Ask me to reveal where the pattern has been hiding. Ask me where you have mistaken familiarity for safety. Ask me where you have accepted recurring sorrow because it felt easier than risking real peace. I will show you. I will not embarrass you. I will not expose you to shame you. I will uncover what must be uncovered so it can finally leave. And when it does, you will begin to notice the difference in ways that seem always too simple at first. You will not panic as quickly. You will not cling as tightly. You will not interpret silence as abandonment the same way. You will not feel compelled to overwork every opportunity out of fear that it will vanish. You will not need to chase what I am already securing. That is how the pattern breaks in practical life. Your responses change because your inner agreement has changed. Your choices change because your emotional baseline has changed. Your relationships change because your boundaries and your expectations are no longer built on old pain. That is not a small thing. That is a holy thing. And yes, there may still be moments where the old reflex tries to rise. When it does, do not panic. Do not think the pattern has returned just because the memory of it tries to speak. Recognize it, refuse it, and return to me. That is how you stay free. That is how you walk out what I am doing. This is not about pretending you were never wounded. It is about refusing to let the wound keep writing your future. The pattern breaks here, my child, because I am standing in the middle of it with you. And what has repeated for years cannot survive forever when I finally become the loudest voice in the room. My child, as I break the pattern over your life, I am also breaking chains through you for others. This is how my kingdom moves. What I heal in one becomes healing for many. When you give, you are not losing. You are planting into a harvest that will outlive your own season. I have spoken, give, and it will be given to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over, and I am speaking it over you now. There are souls trapped in cycles just like the one I freed you from, and your seed becomes the key that unlocks their door. I am calling you into this moment of divine partnership. Do not treat it lightly. So through super thanks, step into membership, or release your offering through PayPal in the description, and watch how I multiply what you place in my hands. This is not just generosity. It is warfare. It is breakthrough. It is legacy. Step forward and give now. My child, I want to talk to you about the part that feels confusing because I know you have already noticed it. Something in you is shifting, and instead of instantly feeling simple, it feels unfamiliar. There is a calm you have wanted for so long, but now that it is starting to come closer, part of you almost does not know what to do with it. There is a softness beginning to touch your inner world, and yet another part of you is standing back, watching it carefully, almost suspicious that it might not stay. That does not mean something is wrong. That does not mean you are resisting me in rebellion. It means you have lived under pressure long enough that peace feels unusual. It means your soul has been in survival mode for so long that stillness can feel exposed. It means your body, your thoughts, your emotions, and even your reflexes have adapted to a world where you had to stay ready. Ready for bad news. Ready for disappointment. Ready for a shift in tone. Ready for a door to close. ready for someone to change, ready for plans to fall through, ready for something good to become fragile. That kind of readiness becomes exhausting, but it also becomes familiar. And when something new arrives, something gentler, something steadier, something that does not demand that same constant inner alertness, you may not immediately call it relief. You may first call it strange. You may wonder why the silence feels loud. You may wonder why your heart keeps looking over its shoulder. You may notice yourself trying to predict the problem before there is one. You may even feel tempted to stir up your own concern just so the calm does not feel so uncertain. That is what happens when a person has spent too long adapting to strain. And I need you to hear me with compassion now. This is not failure. This is transition. This is not proof that you are broken. This is proof that I am leading you out of a place that shaped you deeply. Let yourself be taught. Let yourself be led. Do not be embarrassed by the adjustment. Do not condemn yourself because peace does not feel natural on day one. Come to me in it. Talk to me in it. Say, Father, this feels unfamiliar, but I want what you are giving me. That kind of honesty matters. You do not have to perform comfort for me. You do not have to pretend you are already fully settled. Bring me the strange feeling too. Bring me the hesitation. Bring me the emotional stutter that happens when life gets quiet and your heart does not know whether to relax or prepare. I understand that tension better than you know. I have watched every season that taught it to you. That is why I am not rushing you. I am retraining you. I am walking with you through the transition from survival into steadiness. And yes, it will feel unusual for a little while. The room will feel too quiet at first. The absence of constant crisis may feel disorienting. The lack of emotional chaos may almost make you wonder what you are supposed to be doing. But listen to me carefully. You are not meant to fill the calm with fear just because fear feels familiar. My child, I want you to stay with me here, because what I am doing now is not just about closure. It is not only about stopping what hurt you. It is not only about bringing an end to a season you are tired of naming. There is something more tender, more powerful, and more personal happening underneath all of that. I am not just ending what hath been pressing against your life. I am releasing you from what that pressure built inside you. I am not simply shutting a door behind you. I am unfastening what has been wrapped around your soul for longer than you realized. And I need you to understand this with your whole heart, because many of my children can recognize when something is over, but they do not always realize they are still carrying pieces of it in their body, in their mind, in their expectations, in the way they speak to themselves when no one is listening. You may know the relationship is gone, the opportunity has passed, the season has shifted, the betrayal is old, the silence has stretched, the waiting has lasted, and the visible chapter may look finished on the outside. But there are still invisible threads. There are still emotional knots. There are still inner ties that formed in the middle of the pain, and those are what I am touching now. Come closer. Do not rush through this. Open your hands. Breathe slowly. Let me speak directly into the hidden place. The ending I bring is not just an event. It is a release. It is a loosening. It is a lifting. It is the moment when what clung to you starts losing its grip. You have carried things you were never meant to carry this long. You have held responsibility for outcomes that were never yours to control. You have worn guilt that did not belong to you. You have protected people who wounded you. You have replayed conversations that should have been surrendered. You have tried to understand what was never your burden to solve. You have overthought, overcarried, overexplained, overmanaged, and overcompensated in ways that exhausted you slowly. And because you became so used to doing it, You started calling it normal. But I am telling you now, with the kind of love that reaches all the way into the places you hide from yourself, it is time to release it. Let it go. Put it down. Stop gripping what I am trying to remove. Stop honoring what hath been harming you. Stop rehearsing the weight as if repetition will somehow make it easier to hold. I am not asking you to ignore your pain. I am asking you to stop building your life around it. I am not asking you to deny what happened. I am asking you to stop letting it rent space in your spirit. Some things are not healed by more analysis. Some things are not healed by trying harder. Some things are not healed by staying stronger. Some things are healed when you finally let me have them. That is what this release is. It is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is not losing control. It is finally handing control back to the one who can carry what you never could. So I want you to do something with me right now. Do not just hear me. Participate. Invite me in. Say, Father, I release what has been quietly draining me. Say it slowly. Let it land. Feel the truth of it as it moves through you. Then go deeper. Release the fear of being disappointed again. Release the need to understand every delay. Release the pressure to fix what was never yours to fix. Release the guilt for not being enough for people who were never meant to define you. Release the old grief you keep touching like a bruise. Release the silent anger you carry because it feels safer than being vulnerable. Release the habit of tightening every time something good begins. Release the story that tells you that if you do not hold everything together, it will all fall apart. My child, listen carefully. If your peace depends on your grip, then it is not true peace. Let go. Trust me enough to let go. Trust me enough to loosen your hold on what has become familiar simply because it has been there a long time. I am not taking something precious from you. I am removing what has been making it harder for you to live. That is why this ending is mercy. That is why this release matters. That is why I am not only saying, it's over. I'm also saying, you are free to stop carrying it now. And when that begins to settle in you, you may feel the release before you can explain it. Your chest may feel lighter. Your thoughts may feel less crowded. Your reactions may soften. Your spirit may stop straining. The thing that once followed you from room to room may start losing its shadow. That is not your imagination. That is what release feels like when heaven touches what you thought had become part of you. And I want you to welcome it. Do not cling to the old weight out of habit. Do not go back and pick up what I have already asked you to lay down. Stay here. Receive. Breathe. Let the release happen. Now I want to go deeper still, because there is a part of you that has confused endurance with identity, and I am gently, but firmly separating those things. You have survived so much that some of your strength was born in places of pain. I honor that. I saw how you kept going when you wanted to collapse. I saw how you stayed kind when you were wounded. I saw how you showed up when your soul was tired. I saw how you kept praying even when your voice felt thin. But survival, as noble as it may have been in certain seasons, is not the same as home. You were not meant to live forever in the mode that got you through the emergency. You were not meant to keep wearing armor in rooms where I am creating safety. You were not meant to keep using coping as your permanent personality. Some of the ways you adapted were necessary for a time, but they are not meant to lead you into the next chapter. This is why the release may feel emotional, even disorienting. Because I am not just taking away a burden. I am asking you to step out of a version of yourself that learned how to function under strain. And that version of you may feel familiar. It may feel capable. It may even feel admirable in some ways, but it is also tired. It is also limited. It is also built around old emergencies. And I am calling you into something deeper than mere endurance. I am calling you into rest. I am calling you into trust. I am calling you into the kind of inner steadiness that does not need constant pressure to stay awake. So listen to me closely and receive this invitation without fear. Stop defining yourself by what you survived. Honor it, yes. Learn from it, yes. But do not build your identity around it. You are more than the one who made it through. You are more than the one who held on. You are more than the one who kept functioning while hurting. You are mine. You are beloved. You are being restored, not just repaired. And restored people must eventually release the emergency posture. That is what I am asking of you now. Stop rehearsing the old pain as proof of depth. Stop touching the old wound to remind yourself what it taught you. Stop using the old ache as the lens through which you interpret every new possibility. You do not need to keep carrying the evidence of every battle to prove you survived it. I know you survived it. I was there. I carried you through it. I do not need the scar to remain inflamed for the story to matter. Let it heal. Let it soften. Let it become memory instead of management. Invite me into that process. Ask me, Father, what am I still carrying that no longer belongs in this season? Ask me honestly. Then stay quiet enough to hear me. I may show you a thought pattern. I may reveal a relationship dynamic. I may expose a self-protective habit. I may touch a place where you still live as if the old pain is about to happen again. Do not pull back when I show you. Do not defend it. Do not say, but this is just how I am. Let me challenge that. Let me lovingly confront what has become familiar but is no longer faithful to where I am taking you. Some things must be released because they cannot cross into the next room. Some habits must be laid down because they were built for survival, not for peace. Some inner vows must be broken because they were formed in fear, not in truth. And yes, this can feel vulnerable. Release always does. But it is also holy. It is the sacred exchange where you stop holding what is heavy and let me place in your hands what is healing. This is where you move from clenched to open. This is where you move from guarded to guided. This is where you move from caring to receiving. That is not a small shift. That is a soul shift. That is the kind of moment that changes how you wake up, how you walk, how you respond, how you rest, how you love, how you trust. And if you let me finish what I have started, you will begin to notice something beautiful. You will still be strong, but it will not be the brittle kind of strength built on tension. You will still be wise, but it will not be the suspicious kind of wisdom built on old hurt. You will still be discerning, but it will not be the fearful kind of discernment that expects collapse. You will still be deep, but your depth will no longer require sadness to prove it. That is what release makes possible. It gives you back your soul. It gives you back your softness without making you weak. It gives you back your peace without making you passive. It gives you back your capacity to receive without demanding that you forget what you have learned. So stay with me, my child. Do not stop halfway through the release. Do not pick up what I have asked you to surrender. Do not go back to carrying what heaven is already removing. Let this ending be complete. Let this release be real. Let the weight fall. Let the old emergency pass. Let the grip loosen. Let your heart discover what it feels like when the thing that once defined your inner world no longer gets to stay. My child, as I release you from what you were never meant to carry, I am inviting you to release something back into my hands. What you let go of in faith becomes seed in my kingdom, and I turn seeds into harvests that touch nations. I have said, as long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest will not cease, and I am activating that promise over you now. This is your moment to move from holding to sowing, from carrying burdens to releasing blessings. Every gift you give becomes light in someone else's darkness, breath in someone else's weariness, truth in someone else's confusion. I am asking you, personally, to respond to this invitation, not out of pressure, but out of alignment with what I am doing in you. Give through super thanks, join in membership, or use the PayPal link in the description, and watch how I return it to you in ways you cannot predict. Do not cling, release and step into abundance. Act now. My child, I want you to hear this next part slowly, because if you rush, you may misunderstand what I am promising. What comes after this will not only look different on the outside, it will feel different on the inside, and that matters more than you know. You have had moments before where circumstances changed, but your inner world did not catch up. You step into something new while still carrying old tension. You entered open doors with closed-off emotions. You received good things while secretly preparing yourself for them to disappear. You found yourself in better spaces, but your thoughts were still living in the old room. That is why some blessings felt strangely heavy. That is why some opportunities felt harder than they should have. That is why even when progress came, peace did not always come with it. But this time, what I am doing is deeper than that. I am not simply rearranging the furniture of your life. I am changing the atmosphere you live from. I am not just moving you into a new environment. I am transforming the internal posture with which you will inhabit it. That is why what comes next will feel different. Not because life will become perfect. Not because every problem will disappear overnight. Not because you will suddenly float above all difficulty. But because the part of you that used to tremble, brace, overreact, overcarry, and overmanage will no longer be in charge the same way. And I need you to let that excite you, even if it also feels unfamiliar. Come closer. Imagine this with me. Picture yourself in a moment that once would have triggered panic, and instead of spiraling, you stay steady. Picture yourself standing before an open door and not immediately looking for the hidden trap. Picture yourself hearing silence and not assuming abandonment. Picture yourself receiving kindness and not needing to test whether it is safe before you allow it to touch you. Picture yourself resting without guilt. Picture yourself being present without scanning for what could go wrong. Picture yourself waking up and not feeling like your soul has already clenched before the day even begins. That is what I mean when I say it will feel different. The difference will not only be in what you can point to, it will be in what you no longer have to survive internally. That is the miracle I am building in you. That is the gift I am preparing you to recognize. And I want you to start cooperating with it now. Do not keep telling yourself that the future will probably hurt in the same ways just because the past did. Stop narrating your next season with yesterday's fear. Stop assuming the new room will carry the same emotional weather as the old one. Let your expectation be healed. Let your imagination be redeemed. Let your body learn that it does not need to stay in constant alert. Invite me into the very practical parts of this. Ask me to teach you how to recognize safety. Ask me to teach you how to receive without suspicion. Ask me to teach you how to enjoy without apologizing. Ask me to teach you how to remain present when something is finally good. Those are holy prayers, my child. Those are not small requests. Those are the kinds of invitations that allow healing to become lived reality. And I want you to know that when this shift starts becoming more visible, it may surprise you because it will show up in simple, stunning ways. You will notice you are no longer chasing what I already assign. You will notice you are less desperate to explain yourself. You will notice that your peace is not as easily interrupted by someone else's instability. You will notice that the things that used to hook your fear no longer pull you as deeply. You will notice that you can say no without guilt, wait without panic, trust without overperforming, and love without abandoning yourself. That is what different looks like in lived form. It is not just a dramatic external breakthrough. It is the slow, sacred evidence that your inner world is no longer organized around old pain. That is the future I am speaking over you. That is the next chapter I am preparing. And yes, I want you to begin receiving it now, not later. Make room for it. Speak to it. Welcome it. Do not stand at the doorway of a healed future and keep introducing yourself as the exhausted version of who you used to be. Step forward. Lift your head. Let your heart open. The next season is not asking you to become someone false. It is inviting you to become someone freer. And there is something else I want you to understand, because once the inside begins to change, you may be tempted to underestimate the significance of what you are experiencing. Do not do that. Do not minimize the subtle shifts. Do not call them small just because they are not dramatic. Some of the holiest transformations in your life will first appear in ordinary moments. A conversation where you stay grounded instead of shrinking. A disappointment that no longer wrecks your entire day. A pause in the middle of tension where you choose peace instead of panic. A night where you sleep without replaying every possible outcome. A morning where your first thought is not dread. A decision where you stop chasing and start trusting. Those moments matter. They are not random. They are evidence. They are signs. They are sacred signals that the internal climate is changing. That is why I want you to pay attention. Notice the new ease. Notice the softened reaction. Notice the quieter mind. Notice the places where your body no longer carries the same charge. Notice where your emotions begin to stabilize. Notice where your spirit feels less crowded. And when you notice, do not dismiss it. Thank me. Pause and thank me. Say, Father, I see what you are doing. That gratitude will deepen your awareness. It will train your heart to recognize the quiet miracles instead of only waiting for the loud ones. And I also want to caution you gently here. When what comes next begins to feel different, do not sabotage it just because the old way feels familiar. Do not return to overthinking because calm feels too open. Do not create urgency where I am giving you peace. Do not chase confusion because clarity feels vulnerable. Let the new feeling stay. Sit with it. Build your routines around it. Protect it. Partner with it. If I give you peace in the morning, do not immediately flood yourself with fear just because peace feels strange. If I give you an open door, do not test it with old distrust before you have even walked through. If I give you rest, do not call it laziness because you are used to proving your worth through exhaustion. If I give you joy, do not lower its volume because part of you still expects it to be interrupted. Receive what I give you with reverence. That is part of maturity too. It is not only mature to endure hard seasons. It is mature to inhabit healed ones without shrinking. It is mature to remain present in blessing without needing to brace for loss. It is mature to trust me enough to stop living like disaster is always one step away. That is what I am teaching you. And yes, you may have moments where the old reflex tries to rise. You may feel that familiar tightening. You may hear that old inner voice say, "Be careful. Don't get too comfortable. You'll hope too much." When that happens, do not be afraid. Do not assume the old season has returned. Simply recognize the voice and answer it with truth. Say, "That was then. This is now." Say, I do not need to live there anymore. Say, my Father is teaching me a new way to live. Then come back to me. Breathe. Stay anchored. Let the old reflex pass without obeying it. That is how the new feeling becomes your new normal. That is how peace stops being a visitor and becomes a dwelling place. That is how the next season becomes not only externally different, but internally sustainable. My child, what comes after this will feel different because I am not merely giving you something. I am reshaping you to carry it without fear. I am not only blessing your circumstances, I am blessing your capacity. I am not only opening doors, I am healing the one who walks through them. And when you finally realize how deeply that changes everything, you will understand why I took so much care with your process. You will see that what I was building was never just an outcome. I was building a life in you that could hold peace without flinching, hold joy without apologizing, hold love without fear, and hold the future without needing to control it. That is what comes next. And yes, my child, it will feel different, because you will not be the same person stepping into it. My child, before I take you any further, I need you to stop for a moment and let me speak to the part of you that still carries quiet shame about how exhausted you became. Come closer. Do not stay at a distance while I say this. Do not brush past it. Do not tell yourself you already know. Let it land where it needs to land. You were not wrong for being tired. You were not weak because some days felt heavy before they even began. You were not failing because you reached points where your heart felt thin, where your mind felt crowded, where your emotions felt frayed, where even simple things took more strength than anyone around you realized. I saw that. I saw the hidden cost. I saw what it took for you to answer messages, to show up at work, to smile in rooms, to carry conversations, to make decisions, to keep commitments, to keep faith, to keep moving when your inner world was already worn down. I saw the private fatigue behind the public function. I saw the burden beneath the brave face. I saw the invisible lake beneath the outward order. And I want you to hear me clearly now, because I know how subtly the enemy tried to twist your weariness into self-accusation. He tried to make you believe that your tiredness meant you were spiritually lacking. He tried to make you believe that if you were really strong, you would not feel this drained. He tried to convince you that your need for rest was evidence of failure, that your confusion was proof you had lost your way, that your emotional fatigue somehow made you less faithful. But that is not how I see you. That is not how I have ever seen you. I never looked at your exhaustion and called it weakness. I looked at your exhaustion and saw how much you had been carrying. I looked at your tired eyes and saw the weight you never put into words. I looked at your hesitation and saw how many times you had already been hurt. I looked at your slow pace and saw the miles you had already walked while bleeding inside. So stop accusing yourself. Stop punishing yourself for being human under pressure. Stop calling yourself broken because the burden was heavy. Stop apologizing for the fatigue that came from carrying too much for too long. Lay that false guilt down right now. Release it. Let it go. Say it with me if you need to. I will not shame myself for surviving a hard season. Let your spirit hear that. Let the parts of you that still feel embarrassed by your limits hear that. I do not speak to you as a disappointed judge standing over your weakness. I speak to you as your father, the one who knows exactly what was placed on your shoulders and exactly how long you held it. You have been harder on yourself than I ever was. You expected yourself to recover too fast. You expected yourself to trust too quickly. You expected yourself to bounce back without tending the bruises. You expected yourself to move like someone who had not been carrying invisible weight. But I did not ask that of you. I did not demand that you be gallant by what touch you. I did not require you to act like nothing happened just because you kept going. In fact, part of what I am doing right now is freeing you from the pressure to perform strength while neglecting healing. I am not asking you to prove anything to me. I am asking you to come close enough to let me care for the places where your strength ran thin. This is why I keep inviting you inward. This is why I keep calling you closer. This is why I keep asking you to stop, to breathe, to receive. You have spent enough time trying to be the strong one. Let me be strong for you now. You have spent enough time carrying what should have brought you to your knees. Let me hold what you have been dragging behind your smile. You do not have to earn tenderness from me. You do not have to prove you are worth comforting. You do not have to hide your fatigue in my presence. Bring me the worn-out parts. Bring me the low places. Bring me the moments where your faith felt more like a whisper than a declaration. Bring me the days when you could barely hold one honest prayer together. I was there then, and I am here now. And I am telling you with all the gentleness and authority of heaven, your tiredness did not disqualify you. It revealed where you needed care. It revealed where you needed restoration. It revealed where your soul had been overgrown. That is not something to hide from me. That is something to hand to me. This is not the moment for self-criticism. This is the moment for compassion. This is the moment where I ask you to stop fighting your own humanity and let me meet you in it. Let me sit with the tired version of you. Let me hold the parts of you that feel used up. Let me speak to the places where you started believing that needing rest meant you were losing ground. You were not losing ground, my child. You were carrying more than you were meant to carry alone. That is different. And now I am drawing a line between those two things. I am separating your identity from your exhaustion. I am telling you that the season was heavy, but you are not defective. The load was real, but you are not a disappointment. The road was long, but you are still deeply loved. Sit with that. Receive that. Let the truth soften the way you talk to yourself from this day forward. And I want to go even deeper, because some of your tiredness did not only come from what happened around you. Some of it came from the silent inner effort of trying to be enough for everything and everyone while still making sense of your own pain. That kind of exhaustion is especially cruel because it is easy to miss. People see you functioning, so they assume you are fine. They see you showing up, so they assume you are strong in all the ways that matter. They see you carrying responsibility, so they forget that responsibility can become a quiet thief. They see your composure and call it resilience, but they do not always see the inner cost of maintaining that composure when your heart is already depleted. I saw it. I saw how you became the one who kept things moving. I saw how you held emotional space for others while privately wishing someone would notice that you were unraveling too. I saw how you tried to be dependable even when you needed somewhere to collapse. I saw how you kept trying to make sense of what hurt you while also trying not to become a burden. I saw the mental miles. I saw the emotional math. I saw the constant calculation. I saw the way you carried not just your own feelings, but the reactions, expectations, disappointments, and instability of others. And that is why I need you to hear this next part with unusual clarity. You do not need to keep proving your worth through exhaustion. Stop it. Stop measuring your value by how much you can carry before you crack. Stop using overfunctioning as a substitute for peace. Stop calling burnout faithfulness. Stop thinking that being needed by everyone is the same thing as being aligned with me. It is not. There is a difference between holy responsibility and harmful overextension. There is a difference between love and self-erasure. There is a difference between being generous and being drained because you have forgotten how to return to me. I am not calling you into a harder version of discipline. I am calling you into a healthy version of surrender. So listen carefully and act on this. Pull back from the places where you have been performing strength instead of receiving care. Let the mask slip in my presence. Let the shoulders drop. Let the pace slow. Let the inner pressure ease. Invite me into the places where you still think rest must be justified. Ask me where you are still trying to earn what I have already given freely. Ask me where you are still overworking because you fear that if you stop, you will feel everything. Ask me where you are still overgiving because you confuse being useful with being loved. I will show you. And when I show you, do not defend the habit just because it helped you survive a former season. Some patterns kept you moving, yes. But not every pattern that kept you moving is meant to remain. Some of what you called strength was actually self-neglect in holy language. Some of what you called faithfulness was actually fear of slowing down. Some of what you called maturity was actually your soul trying not to feel how empty it had become. I do not say that to wound you. I say it to wake you. Because if you keep carrying yourself like this into the next season, you will turn blessings into burdens by trying to hold them with the same exhausted posture. I will not let that happen if you will listen to me now. Receive this invitation like water to a dry place. Let yourself be restored before you insist on being useful. Let yourself be loved before you try to be impressive. Let yourself be held before you volunteer to hold everything else. Sit with me longer than your mind is comfortable with. Stay in the quiet even when it feels awkward. Resist the urge to fill every open space with productivity. Let your soul catch up with your body. Let your emotions have room to settle. Let your spirit stop sprinting. And when guilt rises, as it may, do not obey it. Name it and reject it. Say, rest is not rebellion. Say, receiving is not weakness. Say, my Father is not asking me to prove my strength today. Those are not small corrections. They are sacred ones. They retrain the inner life. They untangle the knots. They restore the balance. They make room for the kind of peace that does not depend on constant performance. My child, you were not wrong for being tired. You were carrying too much in too many directions for too long. That is the truth. But now the truth continues, and it gets gentler. You do not have to stay tired in the same way. You do not have to keep living from depletion as if it is your permanent normal. I am restoring your soul, not just managing your schedule. I am tending your inner life, not just helping you endure one more day. And when this restoration begins to deepen, you will feel it in ways that matter. You will stop apologizing for your limits. You will stop over-explaining your need for quiet. You will stop feeling guilty for protecting your peace. You will stop assuming every need around you is a command. You will begin to discern instead of absorb. You will begin to rest without fear. You will begin to let yourself be cared for. That is not selfishness. That is alignment. That is healing. That is what happens when you finally let your Father tell you the truth. You were never wrong for being tired, but you were never meant to carry your life without being held by me. My child, I have seen your exhaustion, and now I am turning your weariness into a well that refreshes others. What drained you will not be wasted. It will become living water for those still walking through dry places. When you give, even from a place that once felt empty, I fill it and multiply it. For I have said my grace is sufficient for you, and my power is made perfect in weakness. This is not about the size of your gift. It is about the surrender within it. I am inviting you to let your restoration become someone else's rescue. Through your super thanks, your membership, or your PayPal offering in the description, you are helping carry my voice into hearts that feel just as tired as you once did. And as you give, I will strengthen you, restore you, and surround you with peace that does not run dry. Do not hold back because you were tired. I am your source now. Step forward and give. My child, this is the part I need you to receive with a still heart, because this is where the shift becomes immediate, and if you are not paying attention, you might miss the holy shock of it. You thought the big moment would be dramatic. You thought there would be one unmistakable event, one loud sign, one thunderous interruption, one obvious before and after that would leave no room for doubt. You imagined that when I finally moved, it would arrive in a way that matched the size of what you have been carrying. You thought maybe the phone would ring, the message would come, the door would swing open, the answer would drop, the tears would break, the circumstance would visibly change, and then you would say, "There it is." That is the moment. But listen to me closely now, because I want you to catch this with your spirit and not just your mind. Sometimes the most powerful turning points do not begin with noise. Sometimes they begin in quiet. Sometimes they begin while you are sitting still. Sometimes they begin while you are reading words like these and something inside you realizes that the old agreement has already started losing its hold. Sometimes they begin when your soul finally hears a truth that lands deeper than all the fear that came before it. Sometimes they begin not with the outer world announcing change, but with the inner world deciding it will no longer bow to what once controlled it. That is why this moment matters so much. The surprise is not that I am moving. The surprise is that I have already begun. Right here, right now, in this very moment where you thought you were only listening, I am already working. In this very breath where you thought you were just trying to understand, I am already shifting something in you. In this very pause where you thought you were waiting for the real thing to happen, I am already loosening what has been gripping your heart. This is not just preparation for later. This is not just a warm-up for some future miracle. This is the beginning. It starts now. And I need you to respond to that. Do not push it into tomorrow. Do not tell yourself you will feel it later. Do not reduce this to encouragement and move on, as if nothing has changed. Stop. Sit up. Pay attention. Place your hand over your heart if you need to. Take a slow breath. Acknowledge what is happening. Say, "Father, if you are starting this now, I receive it now." Let those words come out of you. Let your spirit come into agreement. Let your body hear your faith. Let your mind stop arguing long enough for your soul to recognize the shift. Because if you are always waiting for the change to look dramatic before you honor it, you may miss the subtle beginnings of the very thing you prayed for. And I do not want you to miss this. I do not want you to stand in the doorway of the answer while still calling yourself stuck simply because the first movement happened quietly. Heaven often begins in hidden places. Seeds split open underground before anyone sees green. Dawn starts while the sky still looks dark. Healing begins in tissue you cannot see before the body looks different on the outside. The same is true with what I am doing in you. The old pattern is weakening now. The old fear is being challenged now. The old agreement with disappointment is being interrupted now. The old posture of bracing is being exposed now. The old tension that followed you into every room is beginning to lose its authority now. And yes, the visible fruit will come. Yes, doors will open. Yes, answers will arrive. Yes, circumstances will shift. But the surprise is that the holy ground was not waiting somewhere out there in a future moment. It is under your feet right now. That is why I brought you here. That is why your spirit feels this. That is why these words are hitting places in you that ordinary language cannot reach. This is not coincidence. This is commencement. This is not just insight. This is ignition. This is not merely me explaining your pain. This is me interrupting it. So do not stay passive. Participate. Invite me deeper. Say, begin what only you can begin. Say, I will not postpone what heaven is starting now. Say, I receive the first movement, even if it is quiet. Those are not empty statements. They are doors. They are agreements. They are openings through which grace can move more freely because your heart is no longer waiting for permission from the visible world before it says yes. And I want to tell you something that may surprise you even more, because the first evidence that it has already started may not be what you expected. You may not feel fireworks. You may not collapse in tears. You may not instantly understand everything. Instead, you may notice something quieter and somehow more profound. You may notice that the thought that once ruled your mood does not hit the same way. You may notice that the fear that usually rushes in seems slower this time. You may notice that your body is not tightening with the same urgency. You may notice that you can imagine the future without immediately feeling the need to protect yourself from it. You may notice that the thing you usually replay in your mind suddenly feels old instead of active. You may notice that your spirit feels less crowded. You may notice that your inner world feels as if someone opened a window. Pay attention to that. Do not dismiss it because it is subtle. Do not call it nothing. Do not reduce it just because it did not arrive with dramatic music. That is the beginning. That is the shift. That is the holy surprise. That is the moment where what used to own space in you starts losing its lease. And once you begin to notice it, I want you to nurture it. Yard it. Partner with it. If I give you a moment of unexpected peace, do not immediately flood it with overthinking. Sit in it. If I give you a calmer response than usual, do not question it to death. Thank me for it. If I give you a new sense of possibility, do not shove it aside because it feels too vulnerable. Welcome it. If I give you relief in the middle of an ordinary day, do not treat it like a fluke. Recognize it as a sign. This is where so many miss what I am doing. They wait for the huge thing and ignore the first holy hints. They ask for the mountain to move but overlook the first crack. They long for the sunrise but dismiss the first light. They brave for freedom but mistrust the first exhale. Do not do that. Stay alert in the right way. Stay tender. Stay responsive. Let the little beginnings become honored ground. And also hear me on this, because it starts now. You must stop speaking over yourself as if you are still where you were. Watch your words. Listen to how you describe your season. Listen to how you talk about your heart. Listen to the labels you keep using out of habit. Stop introducing yourself to your own future as if you are still trapped in the old chapter. Stop saying, "This is just how it always goes for me." Stop saying, "Nothing ever changes." Stop saying, "I'm always the one who." That language may feel familiar, but it is out of date the moment I begin moving. And I am moving now. So let your words catch up with my work. Speak carefully. Speak honestly, yes, but also speak with alignment. Say, something is changing in me. Say, this is not the same moment. Say, my Father is already at work. Say, I will not curse the seed because it is still underground. Those kinds of statements protect the process. They keep you from stepping on the very thing I am growing. My child, I know you wanted certainty. I know you wanted a sign so clear that doubt would have nowhere to hide. But what I am offering you right now is something even more intimate. I am offering you a moment of trust that does not need to wait for spectacle. I am inviting you to recognize me in the quiet. I am teaching you to detect the holy before the world can verify it. That is maturity. That is intimacy. That is how deeper faith is formed. And when the visible breakthrough comes, and it will, you will realize something beautiful. You will realize the real turning point did not begin when everyone else could see it. It began when you and I agreed in secret that the old thing was ending and the new thing had already started. That is the surprise, my child. It starts now. Not when everything is perfect. Not when every answer arrives. Not when every person understands. Now, in this breath, in this moment, in this quiet but sacred beginning where your heart says yes before your circumstances catch up. My child, now that you have come this far with me, do not rush away from this moment. Today, remain here a little longer. Let your heart settle. Let the words sink deeper than your first reaction. Do not treat this like a passing thought that brushes against your emotions and then disappears into the noise of the day. This is not that. This is a threshold. This is the kind of moment that looks quiet on the outside but carries the weight of a real crossing. And I need you to understand why I am asking you to stay with me through the ending, because endings can be misunderstood when they first begin. Sometimes when something old starts leaving, you can feel unsettled before you feel relief. Sometimes when a pattern breaks, the silence it leaves behind can feel almost unfamiliar enough to make you uncomfortable. Sometimes when a wound starts closing, the part of you that grew used to living around it does not immediately know how to move without it. That is why I am not just announcing the end and stepping away. I am walking you through it. I am not just saying, "It's over," and leaving you alone in the aftermath. I am staying close because I know what it feels like when the old thing starts losing its hold and the new thing has not fully taken visible form yet. There can be a strange in-between there. There can be moments where you feel lighter and uncertain at the same time. There can be moments where the old reflex tries to rise, not because it still rules you, but because it remembers where it used to live. There can be moments where your mind wants to revisit what I have already asked you to release, simply because familiar pain sometimes feels easier to understand than unfamiliar peace. That is why I am telling you with fatherly firmness and tenderness, stay with me. Do not run back to old patterns because they are recognizable. Do not go searching for the old weight just because the absence of it feels strange. Do not reopen conversations in your mind that I am already closing in your spirit. Do not resurrect what I am burying. Let the ending finish. Let the chapter close. Let the old atmosphere leave the room. Let the internal noise lose its volume. Let the old emergency dissolve. Let the old agreement with fear expire. You do not need to supervise the funeral of what I have already declared finished. You do not need to keep touching the wound to see if it still hurts. You do not need to test the chain to prove it is breaking. You need to stay close. You need to breathe. You need to trust me enough to let the process complete. That is why I keep calling you inward. That is why I keep asking you to remain. That is why I keep speaking with such directness. This ending is not just about the loss of something painful. It is about the restoration of someone precious. It is about you. It is about the person underneath the strain. It is about the heart beneath the coping. It is about the soul beneath the survival. You thought I was only ending a problem, but I am restoring a person. You thought I was just closing a difficult chapter, but I am healing the one who had alive through it. That is why this requires presence. That is why I do not want you rushing ahead trying to get to the next thing before you have let me complete the holy work happening now. Sit with me in the ending. Stay with me in the quiet. Bring me the temptation to overanalyze. Bring me the urge to look back. Bring me the fear that asks if this change will last. Bring me the old reflex that wants to brace again. Do not hide any of it. Bring it all. Let me father you through this transition. Let me hold the parts of you that do not yet know how to relax. Let me guide the places in you that still expect interruption. Let me teach you how to inhabit a life where you are no longer organized around old pain. That is not instant for everyone. That is why I am patient. But do not mistake my patience for distance. I am here. I am close. I am active. I am deeply involved in what is happening in you right now. So stay. Remain. Receive. Listen. Let me finish what I started. And if you feel uncertain, say it. If you feel the old fear tugging, tell me. If you feel the silence and wonder what to do with it, sit with me in it. You do not need to solve the ending. You only need to stay with the one who is carrying you through it. That is enough. That is holy. That is how peace becomes rooted instead of temporary. That is how freedom becomes lived instead of imagined. That is how the ending becomes not just something you survive it, but something that truly set you free. And I want you to hear one final layer of this, because it is the deepest part of all. What I am ending is not just what hurt you. What I am ending is what that hurt kept trying to do to you over time. There were things that did not destroy you in one dramatic moment, but they were slowly draining you in quiet ways. A thought pattern here, a lowered expectation there, a subtle emotional withdrawal, a private numbness, a constant background tension, a hidden sadness you carried into good moments, a carefulness that kept you from fully receiving, a fear of loss that followed love, a suspicion that sat beside peace, a fatigue that felt older than your years. These things did not always announce themselves loudly, but they were working on you slowly. They were wearing grooves into your reactions. They were shaping how you entered rooms, how you trusted people, how you interpreted silence, how you anticipated the future, how you spoke to yourself when nobody else was around. They were not only things that happened to you. They were things that kept trying to keep happening through you. That is why I am speaking with such seriousness now. Because I am not merely ending an event. I am ending what has been ending you. I am putting my hand on the slow leak. I am stopping the quiet theft. I am cutting off the invisible drain. I am closing the inner wound that kept making every new season feel heavier than it should have. And I need you to honor the weight of that. This is not a minor adjustment. This is not a cosmetic change. This is not a temporary emotional lift. This is a deep mercy. This is the kind of work only I can do, because I am not just touching your schedule, your circumstances, your opportunities, or your external story. I am touching the secret places where identity and expectation live. I am touching the rooms in your soul that no one else fully sees. I am walking into the internal house and opening curtains that have been shut for too long. I am clearing the stale air. I am opening windows. I am restoring light. I am rebuilding the places where pain made you live smaller than you were meant to. So now I ask something of you in return, not as a burden, but as an invitation. Stay loyal to the freedom I am giving you. Yard it. Do not return to old narratives out of habit. Do not keep speaking to yourself as if the old season still owns you. Do not keep telling the same inner story while I am writing a new one. Watch your words. Watch your agreements. Watch the way you interpret the next few days and weeks. If peace comes, welcome it. If rest comes, do not sabotage it. If clarity comes, do not chase confusion because it feels familiar. If joy comes, do not lower your expectations just to protect yourself from disappointment. Let the new thing be new. Let the healing be healing. Let the ending be complete. And if you feel the old voice return, answer it with truth. Tell it that season is over. Tell it, I do not live there anymore. Tell it, my Father has already started something new. Speak that. Mean it. Live it. Because what comes next depends not only on what I open for you, but on whether you are willing to stop identifying with what I have closed. My child, stay with me through the ending, because this is where your future is becoming inhabitable. This is where the next chapter stops being something you merely want and becomes something you can actually carry. This is where you stop being the exhausted guardian of your own fragile hope and become the beloved child who knows how to rest in my hands. This is where your life stops being organized around avoiding pain and starts being organized around receiving peace. This is where the old thing truly loses permission. This is where the new thing begins to breathe. So stay. Stay with me long enough for the ending to become complete. Stay with me long enough for the silence to become safety. Stay with me long enough for your soul to recognize that what has left is not coming back with the same authority. Stay with me long enough to discover that what I removed was not your joy, not your depth, not your identity, not your strength. What I removed was the thing that had been quietly eating away at all of them. And once you fully see that, you will stop grieving what ended and start thanking me for what I refused to let keep living in you. My child, now that the ending is unfolding and the old is losing its hold, I am calling you into what comes next, participation in my greater work. What I have removed from you is making room for what I will release through you. This is a sacred moment, a threshold where obedience opens doors not just for your life, but for countless others. I have declared, freely you have received, freely give, and I am speaking that directly into your spirit now. When you sow into this mission, you are helping carry freedom into hearts still bound, light into places still dim, and truth into lives still searching. This is your invitation to step into alignment with heaven's movement on the earth. Give through super thanks, stand with this work through membership, or use the PayPal link in the description, and I will breathe on your seed and multiply it beyond what you imagine. Do not look back, move forward with me. Give now. Before you leave, I want you to do something bold. Go down into the comments and write, I didn't see it coming, but God is ending what was ending me. Let that be your declaration, your line in the sand, your faith-filled yes to the new thing I have already started in you. Do not scroll past this moment in silence. Seal it, speak it, and stand on it. And if this message found the exact place you have been hiding, comment I receive my NEW season and let heaven mark your agreement. And once you have spoken those words, let your heart become still for a moment. Declarations of faith are not meant to be rushed past. They open the door for me to meet you personally. What you have just sealed has already begun to shift something within you. Now I am drawing closer, not to test you, but to tend to what has been weighing on you. So pause and breathe, because this moment is where your faith meets my care. My child, stop what you are doing right now. Pause and listen to my voice. Take a deep, slow breath before you read another word. Do you feel that tight knot in your stomach? Do you feel that heavy pressure on your chest when you look at your life and worry about the future? That anxious fear is not from me. Let us untangle that knot together, right here and right now. I see the exact burdens you are carrying. I know about the overwhelming pressure at your job that drains your energy every single day. I see the unspoken tensions in your family that you try so hard to fix but cannot seem to heal. I know the quiet ache of feeling completely overlooked by people who should have supported you. You have been running on empty, trying desperately to force your own plans to work. Lay your tired hands down. Give me your exhaustion. You made a plan for your life. You wrote down your goals. You created a perfect timeline in your mind. It is written that the heart of a man plans his course, But I am the Lord, and I determine your steps. You thought you knew exactly how this chapter of your life was going to play out. Then, everything changed. Suddenly, things fell apart. The door you loved, the opportunity you prayed for, shut completely tight in your face. You felt a jarring shock. You are lying awake wondering why I allowed the sudden shift in your life's trajectory. My beloved child, you are staring closely at a single, confusing puzzle piece, but I hold the entire completed picture in my hands. My ways are so much higher than your ways. My thoughts are infinitely higher than your thoughts. When your fragile human timeline collides with my eternal clock, it always creates a sudden impact. It feels like a brutal interruption to you, but it is actually a divine intervention from me. Think about the heavy, quiet pause just before a massive thunderstorm breaks. The wind stops. The air goes totally still. That is where you are right now. You are standing in the uncomfortable stillness of a changing season. Do not panic in this pause. I interrupted your plans because your plans were simply too small. You were aiming for what was safe, predictable, and expected. I am calling you into the divine, the powerful, and the extraordinary. I allow these sudden shifts because I love you far too much to let you settle for a life that does not reflect my glory. I am intentionally ending your expected routine so you can finally step into a miraculous reality. Release your tight grip on the life you plan. Open your empty hands to the life I have prepared. Surrender the expectant for the divine. I know it hurts deeply when a door closes. I know you stood in the hallway and cried when that opportunity walked away from you. But I am telling you today, do not waste another tear on a closed door. I locked that door on purpose. I shut it firmly to protect you from a room you were never meant to enter. The bitter rejection you are feeling right now is actually my divine protection working powerfully in your favor. Step away from the locked door. Turn around and look at me. Breathe in my unshakable peace. Exhale your bitter disappointment. You are not falling behind. You are not failing. You are simply being redirected by the Creator of the universe. Trust my guiding hand, even when you cannot see my full plan. Embrace this divine interruption. Welcome this sudden shift. When you feel the panic rising in your chest, command your soul to be still. Remind your racing heart that your Father is in total control of your destiny. I am writing a story far better than the one you outlined. You thought this was the end of your dream, but wait, did you really see this coming? It is merely the beginning of my masterpiece. Give me your broken plans today, and watch how I build something beautiful from the shattered pieces. I am here. I am working. I am making all things work for your ultimate good. Rest in my authority today, and let me guide your every step. Look at the trees outside your window when the season begins to change. Watch how the leaves do not fight the autumn wind. They simply let go, trusting that the branch will bloom again when the time is right. I am asking you to do the same thing today. Let go. You have been holding on so tightly to a season that has already reached its spiritual completion. I feel the exhaustion in your hands. I see the tired tension in your shoulders as you try to force a relationship to work, or try to squeeze life out of a job that drains your very soul. You feel like you are failing because things are falling apart, but I am telling you the absolute truth. You are not failing. The time is simply up. This specific season of your life has reached its absolute fullness. Listen to me carefully. You need to learn the profound difference between an attack of the enemy and the gentle, closing hand of your Father. The enemy attacks to steal your joy and destroy your peace. But when I close a door, I do it to save your life. I know you are confused right now. You are asking me, why is this happening? Why is this ending? I am ending it because it no longer serves the great purpose I have placed inside you. That job, that connection, that familiar routine, they were a temporary bridge, not your permanent home. I am giving you the grace right now, in this very moment, to release what is completely dead. Open your hands. Drop the heavy baggage of a season that I have already declared finished. Do you know that an ending is often a beautiful mercy you did not know you needed? You would have stayed there forever if I had not made you uncomfortable. You would have settled for a mediocre, painful existence, because it was familiar to you. I love you too deeply to let you settle in the dust. I am shaking your comfort zone so you will finally stand up and walk toward your true destiny. Think about the fruit on a vine. It must ripen fully before it is picked, and once it is picked, the vine must rest before it can produce again. You are in that sacred space between the harvest and the next planting. Do not let the loud, rushing noise of the world push you into a panic. The world screams at you to hurry up. The world tells you that you are running out of time, that you are too old, or that you have missed your one big chance. Silence those toxic lies right now. Trust my perfect timing. I am never late, and I am never early. I work in the exact fullness of time. Breathe in my peace. Accept this ending as a beautiful gift of my mercy. Stop trying to revive what I have intentionally put to sleep. You are safe in this transition. Rest in my arms today, and watch how I carefully prepare the soil of your heart for a brand new, magnificent season. Close your eyes for a moment and think about the dark, quiet hours of the night. I know what happens in your room at 2 in the morning. I see you staring at the ceiling, feeling the heavy weight of your worries pressing down on your chest. I hear the silent, desperate prayers you whisper into your pillow when no one else is listening. You feel like nothing is happening. You look at your life and see the same struggles, the same bills, the same family tension, and you wonder if I have forgotten you. Listen to me, my precious child. You are walking strictly by what you can see, but I am working powerfully in the unseen realm. I am closing heavy, dark chapters in the spiritual world right now, long before you ever see them change in your physical reality. I am doing a deep, quiet work in your midnight hour. You cannot see it yet, but I am severing ugly, heavy chains that have bound your family for generations. I am cutting ties with the cycles of poverty, the inherited anger, the deep-rooted anxieties, and the silent addictions that you did not even know were holding you back. You thought you were just dealing with a bad day or a tough week, but I am fighting a massive spiritual battle on your behalf. I am uprooting weeds that were planted long before you were even born. This kind of deep, generational surgery happens in the secret, silent place. You must understand why I keep certain endings hidden from your eyes until the absolute perfect moment. If I showed you the magnitude of what I am ending, the sheer size of the deliverance would overwhelm your mind. I hide my deepest work in the shadows to protect your fragile faith. Like a seed buried under the cold, hard dirt, the most violent transformation happens in total darkness. You feel buried right now. You feel isolated and hidden. But I tell you today, you are not buried. You are firmly planted. The Holy Spirit is doing the miraculous work of breaking your hard shell so you can finally take root. Stop checking your physical circumstances for spiritual proof. Walk fiercely by faith, not by the temporary sight of your current struggles. Do not judge my eternal love by your temporary bank account or your current emotional pain. The beauty of who I am is that I do my very best work when you are completely unaware. Rest your weary mind. Stop trying to figure out every single detail of your deliverance. Give me your midnight anxiety. Let me handle the hidden things. Trust that even when you feel absolutely nothing, I am relentlessly destroying the invisible barriers that have kept you stuck. Your unseen ending is about to become a highly visible miracle. Stand up on the inside. I am speaking directly to the deep exhaustion in your bones. You have been trapped in a brutal cycle of perpetual struggle for far too long. You wake up tired. You work hard. You barely survive the week. And you start all over again. You feel like you are wandering in a dry, endless wilderness, walking in circles but never actually moving forward. You are constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop, constantly anticipating the next crisis, the next unexpected expense, the next painful argument. Today, I am violently declaring an end to this wilderness wandering. I am breaking the heavy cycle of pure survival in your life. Hear my voice and let it shatter your fatigue. You were not created just to survive your days, you were created to conquer them. I am shifting you right now from a desperate survival mindset to a powerful kingdom mindset. I know exactly how tired you are. I see the emotional burnout that makes you want to hide under the covers and never come out. But I am going to use that extreme past exhaustion to fuel your magnificent future rest. I let you reach the absolute end of your own rope so you would finally reach up and grab hold of mine. The struggle was a strict teacher, but class is officially dismissed. Look directly at the finality of the cross. When my son said, "It is finished," he was not just making a religious statement. He was applying a permanent, unbreakable end to the very situation that is draining your life right now. The cross is the absolute end of your perpetual defeat. You must take the authority of my spoken word and use it as a massive stop sign against the enemy's momentum. When the familiar anxiety tries to creep back in, you must open your mouth and declare my promises. Tell the struggle that it has no legal right to your mind, your money, or your family anymore. Embrace the beautiful never again promise of my unbreakable covenant. I am drawing a solid line in the sand of your life today. I am taking the heavy yoke of constant anxiety off your bruised neck. Step out of the exhausting treadmill of simply trying to make it to Friday. Breathe in the rich, deep rest of my kingdom. Allow me to carry the heavy loads that were never yours to carry in the first place. You are stepping out of the dry desert and into a land flowing with provision and peace. Your long days of endless, fruitless toiling are completely over. Rest securely in my completed work. Get ready, my beloved. I am about to do something so shocking, so completely outside of human logic, that it will leave you completely speechless. The unbelieving world around you will not see your breakthrough coming. The people who doubted you, the bosses who overlooked you, the friends who walked away from you, they have already calculated your worth based on your current struggles. They look at your life and think they know exactly how your story ends. But they have no idea what I have been secretly doing in the shadows. I have been deliberately preparing you in the dark, quiet background for a massive, undeniable public manifestation of my glory. Do you know why I love the element of holy surprise? Because it leaves absolutely no room for human pride to steal the credit. When I move in your life, there will be no doubt that it was my divine hand alone. I am about to turn your painful not enough into a glorious, more than enough, and I will do it with sudden, breathtaking speed. Look at the areas of your life where you feel the most defeated. Look at the empty bank account, the stagnant career, the broken health. That is exactly where I am going to drop a miracle so heavy it will shake the ground you walk on. I am going to completely disarm the skeptics in your life with the blinding brilliance of my unmerited grace. The very people who gossiped about your downfall will be forced to watch your miraculous elevation. But this is not about petty revenge. This is about displaying my magnificent power through a yielded life. This is the moment I look at you and smile, saying, "Wait, did you really see that coming?" I love to overwhelm my children with good things. I love to break the natural laws of economics, medicine, and probability just to show you how much I fiercely love you. Rejoice right now in the suddenly of God's intervention. Do not wait for the actual manifestation to start praising me. Start dancing in the quiet hallway before I even open the door. Let your heart beat a little faster with pure, holy anticipation. When you check your email, when you answer the phone, when you look at your circumstances, do it with the confident expectancy of a child waiting to open a massive gift. I am the God of the sudden shift, the unexpected check, the spontaneous healing. Open your arms wide. The heavy downpour of my shocking, divine favor is about to hit your life. As you prepare your heart for the shocking, sudden miracle I am bringing to your life, I am asking you to become a sudden miracle for someone else. I am inviting you right now to become the very vessel I use to fund this global awakening and spread my truth. Partner with me to bring this unexpected favor to the desperate, hurting souls who are still wandering in total darkness. Your financial support is the sacred seed sown into fertile ground, igniting a blazing fire of revival that no enemy can extinguish. I declare over you today, give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Do not hesitate, for this divine appointment to give is the exact key that unlocks your own overflowing, supernatural storehouse. As you freely give, I will fiercely protect your finances and multiply your seed 100-fold in this very season. Step boldly into this financial covenant right now. Click the super thanks, join as a channel member, or use the PayPal link in the description below to sow your vital seed. Do not stop listening now, my child. It deeply grieves my heart to see you walk away right when I am actively preparing your ultimate breakthrough. If you close your ears to me today, you abandon the very miracle I am reaching down to hand to you. Stay with me. Honor the sacred, intimate moment. Do not leave my presence when I have only just begun to fight fiercely for your destiny. Look closely at a beautiful rose bush. To the untrained eye, a gardener with a pair of sharp shears looks like a violent destroyer. He cuts away the branches. He snaps off the leaves. He leaves the bush looking naked, small, and wounded. But the master gardener knows a profound secret. The bush must be severely cut back if it is ever going to produce massive, beautiful blooms. My child, I am the master gardener of your life. I am actively pruning you right now, and I know exactly how much the cutting hurts. I feel the pain in your heart as I remove people, habits, and comforts you thought you desperately needed. I am deliberately taking away the things you falsely believed were your ultimate support system. Look at the relationships that have suddenly dissolved. Look at the financial safety nets that have abruptly disappeared. You are crying over these losses, wondering if you are being punished. You are not being punished. You are being expertly pruned. You had attached your deep security to fragile, earthly things that were never meant to hold your full weight. If I left those dead branches attached to your life, they would slowly drain your spiritual energy and eventually kill your purpose. I am doing this painful, necessary work to ensure your roots grow deep into me, rather than spreading shallowly into your fleeting resources. When everything else is stripped away, you finally realize that I am your only true source. You thought you needed that specific person's approval to be happy. You thought you needed that specific job title to feel valuable. I am shattering those illusions. The profound subtraction in your life right now is the strict prerequisite for a massive, abundant multiplication. I am clearing the crowded space in your life so I can fill it with pure, untainted prosperity. Rest securely in the gentle, calloused hands of the one who never wastes a single tear. I feel the sting of every cut I make. But I look past your temporary discomfort to see the magnificent, sweeping harvest of your future. Do not fight the pruning shears today. Surrender the dead weight willingly. Let go of the toxic friends, the bad habits, the comfortable distractions. Stop begging me to reattach the dead branches I just painfully cut off to save you. Trust my divine vision. When the spring comes, and it is coming quickly, you will bloom with such incredible power and beauty that you will thank me for every single cut. Look closely at your own hands right now. Look at how tightly your fists are clenched. You are gripping the steering wheel of your life so hard that your knuckles have turned completely white. You have lived for so long with the crushing, exhausting illusion that you must be in total control of everything and everyone around you. You wake up every single morning and immediately start calculating how to fix your problems, how to stretch your shrinking paycheck, and how to keep your fragile family from falling apart. I see you sitting in your car in the driveway, taking a deep, desperate breath before you walk into your own house, trying to summon the strength to be the strong one yet again. You are carrying the terrifying weight of 1,000 worries on your frail human shoulders. Stop it right now. I never asked you to be the general manager of the universe. I never asked you to sustain your own life through your sheer, brute willpower. Today I am bringing a sudden, magnificent end to your exhausting self-reliance. Listen to the absolute truth of my word. There is a profound, breathtaking beauty in finally reaching the end of your own strength. The world has constantly told you to hustle harder, to grind longer, and to simply pull yourself up by your own efforts. But the world's aggressive advice has only left you completely burned out and silently depressed. You are running an impossible race with the heavy handbrake pulled all the way out. You are fighting a war you were never designed to win on your own. I see the tears you hold back when you realize that your best, most exhausting efforts are still not enough to fix the broken reality in front of you. Let that heartbreaking realization be a door, not a wall. When you finally admit that you cannot do it anymore, you are not giving up. You are simply giving it to me. Lean back into my everlasting arms right now. Let your tired soul collapse into my divine embrace. I am the Father who never slumbers, never sleeps, and never fails. I want to permanently shift your internal vocabulary today. I want to change the desperate I must into a confident he will. Every time you face a massive mountain of debt, a terrifying medical report, or a heartbreaking family crisis, I want you to stop trying to dig a tunnel through it with your bare hands. Step back and watch me move the mountain. My infinite power is made absolutely perfect in your admitted, honest weakness. When you are totally empty, I finally have the room to fill you with my miraculous provision. Do not be ashamed of your current inability. Your profound weakness is the exact magnet that draws my overwhelming strength directly into your daily life. Make a divine exchange with me right now in this very room. Take off the heavy, suffocating yoke of your own stressful efforts. Hand me the impossible deadlines, the broken relationships, and the financial pressures that are keeping you awake all night. I am giving you my yoke, which is perfectly easy, and my burden, which is miraculously light. Breathe in the deep, sweet relief of a child who knows their father has already paid the bill, fixed the problem, and secured the future. You do not have to be the strong one anymore. You do not have to figure everything out by yourself. Rest your weary head on my chest. The painful era of your independent struggling is completely over. From this moment forward, we move together, and I will carry the heavy load. Turn your face away from the bitter ruins of yesterday. Stop turning around to stare at the broken, painful pieces of a past I have already rescued you from. I see what you do in the quiet, lonely moments when the house is still. I see how you replay your old, embarrassing failures like a tragic movie in your mind. I hear the relentless, accusing voices that remind you of the devastating mistakes you made years ago. You let the heavy guilt of your past relationships, your financial blunders, and your moral failures sit heavily on your chest, suffocating your joy. You walk through your present life dragging a massive, invisible chain of regret attached to your ankle. Today, I am taking a heavy iron key and permanently locking the thick gate on your past. That painful chapter is completely and eternally closed. I am stepping directly into the dark, wounded spaces of your memory to bring absolute, undeniable healing. The deep wounds that have followed you for decades, the childhood rejections, the bitter divorces, the crushing betrayals, they no longer have the legal right to dictate your future. Do you understand the sheer, overwhelming finality of my absolute forgiveness? When I washed you clean, I did not just cover your mistakes, I completely obliterated them from my memory. I threw your sins into the deepest, darkest ocean, and I put up a massive sign that says, "No fishing." Why are you still trying to dig up the very things I have intentionally buried? Stop letting the dark voice of the accuser bring up old charges that were already paid for in full by the blood of my Son. I am calling you forward, but you cannot successfully walk into a brand new territory while you are still looking backward at the city I called you out of. Remember what happened to those who looked back at the destruction they were saved from. Looking back does not heal you. It paralyzes you. It turns your vibrant, forward-moving faith into a rigid pillar of bitter salt. I am spiritually sealing shut the dangerous doors that led to your previous downfalls. The toxic people you used to rely on, the destructive habits you used to run to for comfort, those doors are now bricked over by my protective hand. Do not try to knock on a door I have violently sealed to save your very life. Step entirely into the magnificent identity of a completely new creation. You are not just a patched-up version of your old, broken self. You are brilliantly, entirely new. The person who made those terrible mistakes does not even exist anymore in my eyes. Own this radical new identity. Wear it proudly like a heavy, royal cloak. When the enemy knocks on the door of your mind and asks for the old you, you have the authority to boldly answer, "That person is dead, and Christ now lives violently inside of me." Breathe in the fray, clean air of a completely unblemished record. Walk away from the heavy graveyard of your past. The sun is rising brilliantly on your new day, and the old shadows are gone forever. Draw a firm, undeniable line in the dirt of your life right now. Stand your ground and listen to the fierce authority in my voice. You have felt like a walking target for far too long. Just when you manage to fix one problem, 3 more suddenly break. Just when you finally save a little extra money, the car breaks down or a massive, unexpected bill arrives in the mail. Just when you find a moment of fragile peace, a sudden argument tears your home apart. You are battered, bruised, and feeling completely targeted by relentless bad luck. But hear me clearly today. This is not bad luck. This is a coordinated, specific assignment from the enemy to destroy your hope. And today I am calling an abrupt, violent halt to that dark assignment. I am the Lord of Heaven's armies, and I am stepping aggressively onto your battlefield. I am personally frustrating the subtle tokens of the liars and driving the diviners completely mad. The absolute darkness that has been plotting against your family, your finances, and your mind has just hit an impenetrable, fiery wall. I am setting a divine, unbreakable boundary around your life right now that the enemy absolutely cannot cross. And a weapon. Do you hear me? No weapon intricately formed against you will ever be allowed to prosper. It may be formed. It may be pointed directly at you. But I will jam the weapon before it can ever fire. I am shutting down the relentless momentum of your hidden spiritual enemies. Lift up the heavy, golden shield of your faith. You must understand that your faith is not just a passive feeling. It is a definitive, aggressive stop sign to the forces of hell. When you stand boldly in the middle of a chaotic storm and declare my absolute goodness, you are blinding the enemy with brilliant light. Stop fighting this war in your own exhausted strength. I am commanding you to remain entirely still. Watch how I fight furiously for you while you simply rest in my shadow. You do not need to figure out how to outsmart the darkness. I am the blazing light that swallows the darkness whole. Watch closely how I turn the very trap they set for you into a magnificent tool for my ultimate glory. The massive problem that was designed to bankrupt you, I will use to promote you. The terrible sickness that was designed to kill you, I will use to demonstrate my miraculous healing power to your entire family. Have absolute, unshakable confidence in the God who fiercely rebukes the devourer for your sake. The enemy has overplayed his hand. His time of harassing your family is officially over. Take a deep, victorious breath. The assignment against you is completely canceled, destroyed, and returned to the sender. You are completely safe, fiercely protected, and overwhelmingly victorious. Take a deep, slow breath and let out that heavy, crushing sigh of profound grief. I see the dark, heavy veil of mourning you have been wearing for months, perhaps even years. You have been trapped in a brutal season of the long night in your soul. I know about the days you barely managed to drag yourself out of bed. I know about the times you sat in your car and wept until there were absolutely no tears left. You feel hollowed out, empty, and convinced that genuine, breathless laughter will never return to your weary home. You have been wearing the heavy, dark ashes of your devastating losses, your failed dreams, and your broken heart. Today, I am orchestrating a massive, beautiful divine exchange. Hand me your bitter ashes right now. I am bringing a spectacular, sudden end to the dark winter of your soul. I am taking the heavy, suffocating spirit of heaviness off your shoulders, and I am wrapping you tightly in the vibrant, colorful garment of extravagant praise. I am gently pouring the rich, warm oil of gladness over your tired mind. Do you know what oil does? It heals the painful friction. It soothes the raw, aching emotional burns left by the people who betrayed you and the circumstances that broke you. I am applying my healing oil to the friction of your painful past so that moving forward no longer hurts. The deep emotional scars you thought you would carry to your grave are being supernaturally, rapidly erased by my loving hand. Prepare yourself for the supernatural speed of my complete emotional restoration. The world tells you that time heals all wounds, that you must spend years in dark grief to properly recover. But I am not bound by the slow, ticking clock of human psychology. I am the creator of your actual soul. I can restore in one single, brilliant second what the world says should take a decade to fix. I am breathing fresh, warm life into the dead, frozen areas of your heart. I am actively preparing your spirit right now for the deep, loud, uncontrollable laughter you honestly thought was lost forever. Let this massive shift happen. Stop guarding your heart so fiercely that you block out the joy I am sending. You have become so completely used to the quiet mourning that you are actually afraid to hope again. You are afraid that if you smile, the other shoe will violently drop. I rebuke that dark fear right now in the name of love. The joyful morning has officially broken. The long, weeping night is totally over. Let the warm sunshine of my grace hit your face. Take off the heavy funeral clothes. Step onto the bright dance floor of your new life. I am changing your mournful dirge into a loud, triumphant song of absolute victory. Let the joyous dancing begin. Just as I am aggressively ending your heavy season of weeping and turning your mourning into a joyous dance, Let your generosity be the catalyst that ends the weeping of another. I am personally asking you to step up and fund the rescue mission of shattered lives who desperately need to hear this exact message of healing. Help me reach the broken-hearted millions who are still trapped in the dark, waiting for the heavy chains of their depression to be shattered. Your faithful support is the pure, holy oil that keeps this lamp burning, shining my brilliant light into the coldest, most isolated corners of the earth. I promise you right now, He who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food will also supply and multiply your store of seed. There is a desperate soul whose life literally depends on hearing this broadcast today, making your immediate action an urgent, life-saving mandate. In return for your sacrifice, I will pour out an unstoppable river of favor over your family, entirely shielding you from the devourer. Do not delay this holy work. Use the super thanks. Become a member, or send your powerful offering through the PayPal link in the description right now. Are you tempted to pull away? Do not break this divine connection. It absolutely breaks my heart when you choose the loud, empty distractions of a broken world over the quiet, undeniable healing of my voice. I am pouring out my deepest love to you right now. To stop listening is to leave your total deliverance completely unclaimed on the floor. Stay right here. I am not finished speaking life into your weary soul. Drop the heavy, impossible checklist of religious rules right now. Put down the heavy pen you use to keep score of your own daily failures. You have been absolutely exhausting yourself, running on a religious hamster wheel, desperately trying to earn a love that I have already freely given to you. You wake up feeling guilty because you didn't pray long enough, you didn't read enough, or you lost your temper with your children. You treat your relationship with me like a stressful, demanding job where you are constantly terrified of being fired. Today, I am permanently ending the dark era of your religious striving. I am shattering the heavy chains of your exhausting, works-based faith. I want you to live in the massive, explosive reality of 3 single words. It is finished. When those words echoed across the dark sky from the cross, they tore apart the heavy veil that kept you separated from my warm embrace. I am unveiling the new covenant perspective in your mind today. Under the old way, you had to strive constantly for perfection to be accepted. Under my magnificent grace, you are completely accepted, and that acceptance brings you to peace. I am conditional. Overwhelming love is the ultimate game changer. It completely ends the stressful requirement of your flawless human perfection. I am not looking for your perfection. I'm looking for your honest, resting heart. Stop intensely focusing on your massive pile of unfinished tasks and your daily moral failures. Shift your eyes entirely to my beautifully finished work. When I look at you, I do not see a struggling, failing human being. I see the flawless, radiant righteousness of my own Son. I see a totally forgiven, deeply cherished, highly favored child of the King. You must stop acting like a terrified slave in the very house where you are the honored heir. The heavy burden of saving yourself, cleaning yourself up, and making yourself worthy is totally gone. The glorious sacrifice of the Lamb was more than enough. It was an extravagant overpayment for every mistake you will ever make. Breathe in the shocking, scandalous freedom found in this finished work. You are free from the crushing weight of religious guilt. You are free from the nagging voice that tells you that you are a massive disappointment to heaven. You are my ultimate joy. You are the specific prize I fought for. I enjoy you exactly as you are right now, in this very messy, imperfect moment. Rest in this profound, revolutionary truth. Stop trying to climb a ladder to reach a heaven that has already warmly descended to comfortably reside directly inside your own heart. Relax your tired soul in the secure, unshakable reality of my perfect, finished grace. Look at a tiny, dry seed resting in the palm of your hand. Think about what must happen to that small seed before it can ever become a massive, fruit-bearing tree. It cannot stay safe in your pocket. It cannot stay clean in a jar on your shelf. You must throw it down into the dark, cold dirt. You must cover it completely with heavy soil. To the outside world, and even to the seed itself, it feels like a dark, lonely burial. You feel exactly like that buried seed right now. You feel like your biggest dreams, your deepest hopes, and your best efforts have been shoved into the dark ground and completely covered up. You look at your current life, and all you see is the absolute end of a vision you worked so hard to build. Do not panic in the dark dirt. I am speaking a profound kingdom law over your life today. A brutal ending is the strict requirement for a beautiful beginning. Something old must always die so that something new can rapidly multiply. Stop fighting the necessary ending of this current phase. You are desperately trying to find life and movement in a situation that I have intentionally put to rest. You are holding on to the dry seed, terrified that if you let it go, you will lose it forever. But I promise you right now, if you keep holding on to it, it will remain just a single, isolated seed. Let it fall completely into the ground. Let the old way of doing things die. Let the old mindset pass away. I am doing an intense, internal transformation in the deep, unseen soil of your heart long before I ever change your external circumstances. The real work is happening down in the dark, where nobody else can see your silent tears or hear your quiet prayers. Hold fiercely onto your hope when you feel completely buried. You are not trapped in a dark grave. You are planted in a fertile garden. I know the intense pressure of the heavy dirt feels like it is crushing you. I know the cold winter of your soul makes you feel completely abandoned and forgotten. But the winter never lasts forever. The hard, outer shell of your own human strength is finally breaking open. You are finally learning to rely entirely on my supernatural power instead of your own limited resources. You are dying to your old, anxious way so you can be resurrected into my absolute peace. Prepare your heart for the sudden, joyful surprise of the green sprout. Very soon, the dark ground is going to break wide open. After the long, cold, silent winter of your soul, you are going to see a fresh, vibrant, completely new life pushing its way up into the warm sunlight. This is the ultimate paradox of my kingdom. You thought the death of your old dream was the end of your story, but it was actually the grand opening of your true destiny. Breathe in the deep, rich promise of resurrection today. Release the dead things willingly. Trust the dark soil. The greatest, most abundant harvest of your entire life is about to break through the ground. Stand entirely still in this quiet, uncomfortable hallway. You have just watched one heavy door firmly close behind you, and the new door standing in front of you has not yet opened. You are stuck in the waiting room of your life. I see you nervously pacing the floor. I see you checking your phone every 5 minutes, refreshing your email, aggressively checking your bank account, looking for any small sign that your situation is about to change. You are deeply frustrated by the heavy silence of this season. You are asking me, why are you taking so long? Why do I have to wait when I am hurting so much right now? Listen to the calm, steady rhythm of my voice. The silence you hear is not my absence. This quiet waiting period is a highly active, totally necessary season of intense spiritual preparation. Do not rush the profound purpose of this quiet hallway. I am actively stretching and strengthening your spiritual muscles right now. If I open the next door for you immediately, the massive weight of the new blessing would instantly crush you. You do not currently have the emotional capacity or the spiritual endurance to handle what I am about to give you. I am using this frustrating delay to build a solid, unshakable foundation under your feet. I am teaching you how to trust my invisible hand even when you cannot see a single physical change in your daily circumstances. You must deeply learn that I am working fiercely on your behalf, even when the sky is completely silent and the room is totally dark. Stop trying to force the locked door open with your own bare hands. Put down the heavy crowbar of your human anxiety. There is a massive danger in trying to create a quick shortcut just because you are tired of waiting. When you try to birth the promise through your own rushed efforts, you end up creating a permanent, stressful problem. You end up taking a job that drains you, just to pay a bill, instead of waiting for the career that fulfills you. You end up settling for a toxic relationship just to cure your loneliness, instead of waiting for the partner who truly honors you. Do not settle for cheap, immediate imitation when the authentic, priceless miracle is standing right on the other side of the door. Breathe in the deep, heavy peace that completely passes all human understanding. Let that peace settle deeply into your racing mind. Stop asking me when the wait will be over, and start asking me what you need to learn while you are still waiting. Surrender your strict, demanding timeline to my perfect, flawless clock. The quiet silence is about to be shattered by a massive shout of absolute victory. You are in the very last moments of the wait. Stand tall. Keep your eyes completely focused on me. When I finally turn the knob and swing that heavy door wide open, the sheer magnitude of the blessing will make you completely forget how long you had to stand in the hallway. Take off the heavy, suffocating masks you have been wearing every single day. Stop hiding your true face behind the cheap, fragile labels the broken world has glued to your forehead. I see the incredible exhaustion in your eyes. You have spent your entire life trying desperately to live up to titles that I never actually gave you. You answer to not good enough. You answer to failure. You answer to just an employee, or just a mom, or the one who always messes up. You have allowed other flawed, broken people to dictate your total worth and define your core identity. Today, I am violently ripping those false, toxic labels off your life. I am stripping away every single title that keeps you hiding in shame and running from my warm presence. Look directly into the bright, loving light of my face. Stop looking into the cracked mirrors of social media or the critical opinions of your family members to find out who you are. The only mirror that tells the absolute truth is the mirror of my unbroken word. When I look at you, I do not see the mistakes you made 10 years ago. I do not see the heavy debt you are carrying. I do not see your awkwardness or your daily anxiety. I see a brilliant, radiant, fiercely loved child of the Most High God. Let the desperate, exhausting people-pleaser inside of you die today. Stop twisting yourself into painful knots just to keep other people happy. You do not need to earn their fragile applause when you already have my standing ovation. Embrace the royal, unshakable status of a chosen son or a favored daughter above everything else. That is your primary, eternal identity. Every other title you hold is temporary and subject to sudden change. You could lose your job tomorrow. You could lose your money tomorrow. But you will never, ever lose your secure place at my family table. I bought your permanent seat with the precious blood of my own son. I want you to walk into your workplace, your home, and your daily life carrying the heavy, quiet confidence of total royalty. You are not a beggar hoping for a scrap of luck. You are an heir fully expecting to receive your massive, guaranteed inheritance. Breathe in the solid, undeniable confidence of knowing you are handpicked, fully accepted, and never forsaken. When the loud, accusing voices try to call you by your old, broken names, you must boldly refuse to answer. Command your own mind to accept your new, royal name. You are entirely forgiven. You are totally redeemed. You are fiercely protected. Step completely out of the dark shadow of other people's expectations. Walk boldly in the blinding, beautiful light of your true, divine identity. You are exactly who I say you are, and absolutely nothing can ever change that eternal truth. Watch closely how I completely flip the script of your life. You are staring at a massive, terrifying dead end, fully convinced that your story is completely over. You look at the massive pile of unpaid bills. You look at the terrifying medical report. You look at the deep, painful division in your family. You feel like you are backed completely into a dark corner, surrounded by enemies, with absolutely no way out. The world is looking at your situation and whispering that it is completely impossible. Let them whisper. I absolutely love impossible situations. I thrive in the dark space where human logic fails completely. I am the god of the sudden, shocking, undeniable reversal. I am about to take the exact trap the enemy set for your destruction and use it as the very platform for your greatest elevation. Look at the history of my deep faithfulness. I specialize in the spectacular Red Sea moments. When the water was in front of them and the furious army was behind them, my people thought they were completely dead. But I did not just send a tiny boat. I aggressively split the entire ocean wide open. I am going to do the exact same thing in your current crisis. The very problem that is threatening to drown you right now is about to become the dry, solid ground you walk across to reach your massive victory. The thrilling reality of walking with me is that I always save the absolute best wine for the very end of the feast. Just when you think the joy has completely run out, I pour out a miracle that shocks everyone in the room. Live your daily life with a fierce, aggressive expectancy. Do not wake up expecting another day of heavy defeat. Wake up eagerly looking for my hand to move. Expectancy is not just a nice feeling. It is the required lifestyle of a true believer. When you go into that difficult meeting, expect my heavy favor to surround you like a shield. When you look at your broken budget, expect my sudden, supernatural provision to completely overflow your accounts. The unbelieving world operates on fear and dark pessimism, but you must operate on the thrilling anticipation of a sudden, divine plot twist. Prepare your heart right now for a completely unexpected turn. The situation is not going to slowly get better. It is going to suddenly completely change. I'm going to move a massive mountain in one single, breathtaking moment. The people who confidently dug a deep pit for you to fall into are going to fall into it themselves, while you walk safely and securely over it. Do not let the current, temporary darkness convince you that the sun is never going to rise. Stand your ground. Hold your peace. Get ready for the massive weight, moment of your life. The God of the great reversal is stepping into your dark room right now, and everything is about to change. As I actively orchestrate this miraculous, unexpected reversal in your own story, I need you to help me orchestrate that exact same breathtaking turn for someone completely devoid of hope. I am directly calling you to partner with me financially so we can broadcast this truth and shatter the invisible prisons of captive souls all across the globe. When you cast your bread upon these waters, you are releasing a heavy rain of harvest that washes away the despair of the lost. Hear my ancient vow spoken fresh to you in this very moment. Test me in this, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it. This is your sacred, urgent moment to step into the supernatural flow of kingdom economics before this critical window of opportunity closes. I will aggressively multiply your resources and forcefully crown your absolute obedience with shocking, unmerited prosperity. Take bold, immediate action. Click super thanks, join the channel membership, or give fiercely through the PayPal link provided below. Keep listening to me, beloved. It profoundly wounds my spirit when my children turn back halfway through the journey settling for painful survival when I am offering them an absolute, earth-shattering victory. I am speaking directly into your deepest, darkest fears in these exact words. Do not silence my voice. Respect the staggering magnitude of what we are doing together right now. Stay with me. Release your tight grip on the hands of the people who are constantly dragging you down. Look closely at the inner circle of your life. Look at the voices you allow to influence your daily decisions. You are completely exhausted because you are trying to carry dead, toxic relationships into a brand new, vibrant season of your life. I am giving you a very specific, difficult command right now. You must completely disconnect from every single connection that hinders your daily walk with me. I see the deep guilt you feel at the thought of walking away from old friends or familiar environments. But you cannot put fresh, expanding new wine into old, brittle wineskins. If you try, the old skins will violently burst, and you will completely lose the new blessing I am trying to pour into your life. I am giving you the supernatural grace today to forgive them completely and move on without a single drop of bitter resentment. You do not have to leave angry. You do not have to leave a trail of destruction behind you. You simply have to quietly, firmly close the door and walk away. Some people were absolutely meant for your history, but they are dangerously toxic to your future destiny. They complain constantly. They mock your bold faith. They pull you back into the exact bad habits I just painfully delivered you from. Do not apologize for strictly protecting the sacred space of your own mind and heart. Embrace the profound, holy importance of true spiritual alignment. You need people in your corner who speak powerful life, not heavy death. You need friends who will forcefully pull you up when you are tired, not people who require you to constantly carry their heavy, dramatic baggage. I am calling you into a brief, necessary season of holy isolation. Do not fear the quiet loneliness of this transition. I am intentionally removing the loud, chaotic voices from your life so you can finally hear my gentle whisper with crystal clarity. The empty chairs at your table are not a punishment. They are reserved seating for the new, powerful alliances I am about to bring to you. Trust me implicitly to provide the absolute right people for your next massive level. When the time is right, I will bring divine connections into your life that will completely blow your mind. I will bring mentors who open massive doors for you. I will bring friends who pray fiercely for you in the middle of the night. But you must first create the empty space for them to arrive. Stop forcefully dialing old numbers that I have already disconnected. Wash your hands of the dead connections today. Step bravely into the quiet, protected space of my presence. I am preparing a brand new, incredibly powerful community for you, but you must be willing to let go of the past to receive them. Look at the calendar on your wall and tell me what you see. You see the days, the months, and the years slipping through your fingers like dry sand. I see the heavy regret weighing down your heart when you think about the time you have completely lost. You sit awake at night calculating the years you wasted on a relationship that left you broken. You mourn the decades you gave to a company that replaced you in a single day. You cry over the seasons stolen by deep depression, crippling anxiety, and terrible decisions. You feel like you are terribly behind in life. You look at people your own age and think you have completely missed your chance. Stop carrying the heavy burden of lost time. I am the creator of time itself, and I am about to do something that defies every single law of human nature. I am officially declaring a permanent end to the reign of the locust in your life. Listen to the ancient, unbreakable promise of my word. I will restore to you the exact years that the swarming locust has eaten. I am not just going to give you a fresh start. I am going to aggressively give you back the value of everything that was violently taken from you. You look at your past and see a massive graveyard of missed opportunities and ruined potential. I look at your past and see the perfect fertilizer for your greatest season of explosive growth. I am taking the bitter sting out of your deepest regrets right now. Do not spend another second mourning the old doors you failed to walk through. I am opening brand new, massive doors right in front of you that are infinitely better than anything you left behind in your history. Watch how I supernaturally compress time to bring you perfectly back to your ultimate destiny. The unbelieving world tells you it takes 20 years to build a successful career or a solid financial foundation. I can accomplish more in 2 short months of my divine favor than you could accomplish in 2 entire decades of your exhausting human hustle. I am bringing a sudden, shocking acceleration into your calling, your finances, and your personal healing. You are going to wake up one morning very soon and realize you are exactly where you were always meant to be. The sheer speed of your upcoming promotion is going to make your head spin in the best possible way. Trust the masterful author of your life to write a much better ending than your painful beginning. I am the god of the ultimate plot twist. I am stepping into the pages of your story right now to rewrite the tragic chapters you thought were permanently set in stone. Prepare yourself for the brilliant surprise of receiving significantly more than you originally lost. Your restored life is going to be far more beautiful, far more abundant, and far more peaceful than the life you previously mourned. Hand me your broken clock today. Give me your heavy timeline. Step into the miraculous slipstream of my divine acceleration, and watch how quickly I make up for every single wasted year. Stand up and let me inspect the foundation of your life. You have been begging me for a massive new building. You have been praying for the promotion, the new relationship, and the major breakthrough. I hear your passionate prayers, and I am incredibly eager to give you these magnificent gifts. But you must understand a critical, unshakable law of my kingdom. I will never build $1 million mansion on a cheap, crumbling foundation. I am completely halting the external progress right now so I can do some deep, necessary construction on your inner man. You feel like you are completely stuck, but you are actually being heavily reinforced for the massive weight of the coming blessing. Look deeply at the places in your faith where you constantly waver. One day you are completely filled with bold faith, declaring my promises and shouting for victory. The very next day, a small inconvenience happens, and you crash into a deep, dark pit of terrible anxiety. This exhausting emotional roller coaster must come to a permanent end today. I am strictly demanding an end to the dangerous wavering of your mind. A double-minded person is as unstable as a tiny boat tossed violently in a massive hurricane. I am pouring the heavy concrete of my absolute truth into the deep cracks of your wavering doubts. I need you completely anchored to the solid rock before I let the powerful winds of change blow through your life. Open your mouth and begin to feed aggressively on the pure bread of life. You cannot survive this massive transition on the junk food of worldly entertainment and social media opinions. You are completely starving your spiritual body while you overfeed your physical fears. I command you to open my word every single day. You must build a massive, deep reservoir of my promises inside your heart right now. When the pressure suddenly hits, whatever is deeply stored inside of you is exactly what will spill out. If you only store up fearful news and angry complaints, you will bleed panic when the enemy cuts you. Store up my solid truth so you bleed pure peace. Take hold of the heavy anchor of daily, disciplined prayer. I am not asking for fancy, religious speeches. I am asking for an honest, raw, daily conversation with your Father. Pray when you are driving your car. Pray when you are washing your dishes. Pray when you are terrified. This constant, unbroken connection is the heavy steel cable that will hold your soul totally steady when the sands of the world inevitably shift beneath your feet. Do not resent this quiet, boring season of deep preparation. The strength you are quietly building in the dark today is the exact strength that will keep you proudly standing in the bright light of tomorrow. Take a deep breath and give me the crushing weight of your financial anxiety. Look closely at the unpaid bills stacked on your kitchen table. I see the tight panic in your chest every time you check your bank account. I know the exact fear that grips you when you hear a strange noise in your car, wondering how you will ever afford to fix it. You live under the dark, heavy shadow of the just enough mentality. You constantly calculate, you endlessly worry, and you go to sleep stressed about the math that simply does not work. Today, I am violently breaking the cruel spirit of poverty and lack off your life forever. I am the absolute owner of the universe, and I am stepping directly into your personal finances right now. Listen to the shocking truth about your true inheritance. The massive storehouses of heaven are completely full, and you are the legal, beloved heir to every single room. Why are you living like a desperate orphan begging for cheap scraps when your father owns the entire estate? I am completely shattering the toxic mindset that tells you that you are destined to struggle with money for your entire life. I am replacing your deep financial fear with the solid, unshakable revelation of my supernatural provision. I am Jehovah Jireh, the God who sees your need long before it arrives, and violently provides the solution before you even know to ask. Watch how I miraculously merge your practical stewardship with my supernatural multiplication. I command you to be faithful with the little you currently have. Stop wasting your resources on temporary comforts to numb your permanent fears. Bring your empty baskets to me. When you manage your small resources with deep integrity, I will blow on your finances with explosive growth. You are about to experience the thrilling fish with the coin moments in your daily life. I will bring unexpected checks in the mail. I will cause debts to be suddenly canceled. I will create brand new streams of massive income from places you never even considered. Stop asking the terrified question, how will I pay for this? I am the God who owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, and I can easily sell a few cows to cover your rent. And the exhausting habit of making money your master. Money is a simple tool, and I am the master builder. Command your heart to completely trust my daily provision. I will never let you starve. I will never let you sink. Lift your tired head up and look at the endless, abundant resources of my kingdom. The dark season of your agonizing financial lack is coming to a sudden, miraculous halt. I am opening the floodgates of heaven over your home right now. Put your hands over your ears and step away from the deafening noise. You are completely overwhelmed by the constant, aggressive chatter of a panicked world. From the moment you wake up, your mind is bombarded by terrible news, toxic gossip, stressful notifications, and the loud demands of angry people. Your brain feels like a crowded room where absolutely everyone is screaming at the same time. You are totally exhausted, carrying a heavy, dull headache of pure anxiety. Today, I am commanding a strict, holy silence over the chaotic noise in your life. I am entirely ending the loud interference that desperately tries to drown out my gentle, guiding voice. You must intentionally retreat into the quiet discipline of the secret place. Turn off the bright screens. Shut the heavy door to your bedroom. Get down on your knees in the absolute quiet. I cannot yell my divine secrets over the loud blaring of your television. You must create the sacred, silent space required to hear my fresh direction. When you finally stop the noise, you will realize that I have been speaking to you this entire time. I am transitioning your ears from constantly listening to heavy fear to exclusively listening to absolute truth. The clarity you have been desperately begging for is waiting for you in the quietness of my presence. Open your mouth and let me put a brand new song inside of it. You have been singing a bitter, repetitive dirge of complaint and victimhood for far too long. You constantly talk about how hard your life is, how bad the economy is, and how unfair people are. That old, depressing song is officially cancelled. I am placing a vibrant, powerful psalm of massive praise on your lips today. I am teaching you the thrilling rhythm of pure worship. When you sing my praises in the middle of your dark storm, you literally change the spiritual atmosphere of your entire home. The heavy demons of depression cannot tolerate the bright, joyful sound of a grateful heart. Attune your spiritual ears to the high, clear frequency of heaven. The storm is rapidly ending, and the loud thunder is finally rolling away. As the dark clouds clear, you will hear the beautiful, gentle whisper of my Holy Spirit giving you exact instructions for your next step. Listen carefully. Do not let the world pull you back into its loud, terrifying panic. Keep your mind completely stayed on me. Guard your peace violently. I am filling your quiet moments with massive divine strategy, unshakable comfort, and a joyful melody that will carry you straight into your brand new season. Now that I have silenced the chaotic noise of your enemies and put a brand new, victorious song in your mouth, I need you to broadcast this frequency of heaven to the world. I am inviting you to physically invest in this divine mission, becoming the very loudspeaker of my profound grace to millions drowning in worldly panic. Your generous offering is the fresh manna that feeds the spiritually starving, a rushing, life-giving river in the dry, exhausted wasteland of their lives. Stand fiercely on my living word today. A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be brilliantly refreshed. The time is brutally short, and the enemy is working overtime, so your immediate financial support is a critical weapon in this fierce spiritual war. Because you choose to refresh others, I will permanently silence the devourer in your bank accounts and bless the daily work of your hands beyond all human comprehension. Move powerfully in your faith right now. Support this mission through Super Thanks, YouTube membership, or the PayPal link hidden in the description below. We are so incredibly close to the finish line. Do not dare to pull your heart away from me now. It genuinely grieves me when you let sudden impatience steal the grand finale of the massive blessing I am currently declaring over your life. I have intentionally saved the most vital, explosive truth for these final moments. Stay fiercely focused on my voice. To walk away now is to tragically forfeit the magnificent new chapter I am actively writing for you. Open your eyes completely and look fiercely at the actual direction of your life. You have been running incredibly fast, burning up massive amounts of energy, and sweating through exhausting days. But I must ask you a very direct question. What exact finish line are you actually running toward? You have been aggressively pursuing goals that do not bear a single ounce of eternal fruit. You are chasing after temporary titles, fleeting popularity, and empty material trophies that will completely rust and fade away. I see the deep, hollow emptiness inside your chest even when you achieve what you set out to do. Today, I am bringing a sudden, jarring halt to your misaligned ambitions. I am totally realigning your human vision with my massive, eternal purpose. Look away from the tiny, temporary distractions of this broken world. I am opening your spiritual eyes right now so you can clearly see the massive fields that are completely white and ready for the eternal harvest. There are broken people desperately waiting for the specific testimony only you can share. There are heavy chains only your specific prayers can break. I have a highly specific, totally customized, thrilling plan for your brief time on this earth. The absolute joy of discovering my specific blueprint for your life is far better than the cheap thrill of chasing your own selfish desires. You must adjust your perspective from the short-term temporary to the long-term eternal. I am giving you the fierce courage today to walk completely away from things that are merely good so you can finally reach what is absolute best. It is incredibly hard to drop a good opportunity, a comfortable paycheck, or a decent project. But if it is not my specific will for your life, it is a dangerous distraction disguised as a blessing. Do not be afraid to say a bold no to the heavy demands of the world so you can say a passionate yes to the call of heaven. You are not here just to pay bills, buy a house, and eventually die. You are here to shake the gates of hell and establish my brilliant kingdom. Fix your eyes completely on the magnificent crown of life. Stop performing for the cheap, fickle applause of earthly crowds who will forget your name tomorrow. Focus entirely on the proud, beaming face of your Father who will remember your faithful obedience for all of eternity. Let your old, selfish ambitions completely die today. Step boldly onto the grand, sweeping stage of my divine purpose. The work I have for you is totally thrilling, completely dangerous to the enemy, and eternally significant. Lock your eyes on my face, take my hand, and let us walk directly into the magnificent destiny I wrote for you before the world even began. Look back one last time at the season you are finally leaving behind. I know exactly how hard you worked to build it. I see the late nights, the early mornings, and the deep emotional investment you poured into that project, that job, or that specific relationship. You feel a heavy, lingering sadness because it is finally over. You are sitting in the quiet aftermath, surrounded by the invisible boxes of your memories, wondering if you did enough. Stop carrying the heavy burden of the what-ifs and the if-onlys. You replay old conversations in your head, thinking, if only I had said this, or what if I had tried just a little harder? I am bringing you the beautiful, profound grace of a final closure today. You must accept that your assignment in that specific place is completely finished. Accept the deep peace of knowing you did exactly what you were called to do. You did not fail just because the season came to an end. You learned the hard lessons. You fought the good fight. You poured your heart out, and now it is time to wash your hands and step away with complete honor. End this project or season with absolute excellence. Do not leave with a bitter heart or an angry word. Have up your babes with quiet dignity. Let go of the desperate need to explain yourself to people who simply do not want to understand you. I am your fierce defender, and my opinion is the only one that truly matters. Give me the heavy legacy of what you are leaving behind. You are terrified that if you walk away, everything will fall apart. You think you are the only glue holding that family, that office, or that ministry together. Release that massive, exhausting responsibility right now. It was never your job to save everyone. Trust me to care for the people and the places you are leaving. I am stepping in to handle the loose ends you could not tie. I will protect the good seeds you planted, and I will graciously prune the mistakes you made. You can walk out the door knowing that my capable hands are completely covering your past. Enter fully into my sweet, heavy rest as you finish your current race. Do not rush frantically into the next huge thing just to avoid the quietness of the transition. Sit down. Take a deep, long breath. Allow yourself to feel the deep, honest satisfaction of a fully completed assignment. You survived the intense pressure. You navigated the dark storms. You made it to the absolute end of this difficult chapter. I am incredibly proud of your quiet endurance. Let the heavy tension melt completely out of your tight shoulders. The demanding work of yesterday is officially over. Look at the closed door not as a massive loss, but as a brilliant graduation. You are graduating from the strict school of that past struggle. You do not need to repeat that painful grade ever again. I am handing you your diploma of survival and resilience. Stand tall and accept the absolute finality of this closure. When the enemy tries to drag your mind back to the old mistakes or the old arguments, you must firmly command your thoughts to obey my peace. Say out loud, that season is finished, and my Father has sealed the door. I am placing a heavy, unbreakable seal on your past right now. Breathe in the clean, fresh air of total completion. You are entirely free to move forward without a single heavy chain holding you back. Stand completely still and watch what I am about to do. You have prayed for this exact moment in the dark for years. You have cried out to me when your bank account was totally empty, when your body was completely broken, and when your heart was shattered into a million pieces. You have waited in the heavy, frustrating silence, holding on to a promise that seemed totally impossible to the human mind. It ready right now. The exact moment of physical, tangible manifestation is rushing toward you at supernatural speed. The heavy clouds are violently breaking apart. The solid wall you have been staring at for a decade is about to collapse into a pile of dust. Look at the overwhelming, undeniable evidence of my absolute faithfulness. I am not going to give you a tiny, quiet blessing that people can easily dismiss as mere luck. I am going to drop a miracle into your actual, everyday life so massive that it will literally shock everyone who witnesses it. You are going to get that specific phone call you stopped hoping for. You are going to open that email and read the exact words of your breakthrough. You are going to look at your physical circumstances and realize that I just flipped your entire world completely upside down in the best possible way. The sudden reality of my power will make your knees weak with pure gratitude. Prepare yourself to face the people who constantly doubted you. They mocked your quiet faith. They whispered behind your back that you were foolish for trusting me. Your upcoming testimony will completely silence their loud skepticism. They will look at your sudden promotion, your restored family, and your supernatural peace, and they will be completely forced to admit that only God could do this. You will not even have to defend yourself or boast about your success. The massive, shining evidence of my extreme favor on your life will do all the loud talking for you. I am preparing a massive table for you right in the direct presence of your enemies. Share the brilliant glory with the one who orchestrated this entire masterpiece. When the sudden breakthrough hits your life, let the deep humility fall over you. You will know without a single shadow of a doubt that your own human hustle did not create this victory. You could not have manipulated this outcome if you tried. Fall on your knees and lift your empty hands in pure, tearful worship. You are finally stepping out of the dark hallway of waiting. You are walking directly into the bright, warm room of the suddenly you have prayed for since you were young. Let the shock wash over you. Let the joyful tears completely ruin your face. Your impossible miracle has officially arrived, and it is far more beautiful than you ever imagined. Look down at the solid ground you are standing on right now. This massive, answered prayer that you are currently celebrating is incredibly beautiful. But I need to completely blow your mind today. This brilliant end to your past struggle is merely the absolute floor of your next level. I am not finished with you. I am just getting started. You think you have reached the absolute peak of the mountain, but I am simply letting you rest at the base camp before we climb into the clouds. You are about to experience a rapid, sudden elevation that will demand a totally new level of spiritual maturity. I am taking you from glory to greater glory, and you must prepare your heart for the intense pressure of this new altitude. Guard your heart fiercely and stay completely humble in the midst of this rapid success. When the massive doors swing wide open and the world starts to applaud your name, the toxic temptation of human pride will try to infect your mind. Do not forget the dark, quiet wilderness where I first found you. Do not forget the desperate, tearful prayers you prayed when you had absolutely nothing. You must aggressively remember that every single ounce of your new influence, wealth, and peace is a direct, unmerited gift from my open hand. The moment you begin to think your own brilliant wisdom secured this victory is the moment the blessing begins to rot. Keep your face completely bowed to the floor, even as I lift your head up high. Accept the heavy, beautiful responsibility that comes with your brand new blessing. I am not blessing you simply so you can live a comfortable, selfish life and ignore the broken world around you. I am pouring this massive favor into your life so you can become a powerful, flowing river of my grace to others. You are now the answer to someone else's desperate midnight prayer. When I put unexpected wealth into your hands, I expect you to radically fund my kingdom. When I give you a massive platform, I expect you to boldly speak my truth. Do not hoard the manna I am giving you today. Open your hands and let my pure goodness flow forcefully through you. Lean entirely on the daily guidance of the Holy Spirit. You cannot navigate this brand new path using your old, outdated maps. The demons you face at this new level will be smarter, and the distractions will be much more subtle. You must maintain a continuous, desperate dependence on my voice. Start every single morning by asking me for fresh, divine strategy. Let me guide your massive decisions, your new relationships, and your daily schedule. Do not let the busy rush of your new success crowd out the quiet, intimate time we share in the secret place. Walk cautiously, but boldly into this greater glory. I am securely holding your right hand, and I will strictly protect you as you step into the brilliant spotlight of your new calling. Stand up tall and look directly into the bright, beautiful horizon of your brand new life. Take a deep, long breath of the fresh, clean air that now surrounds you. The exhausting battles of your past are officially over. The heavy chains of your deep anxiety are completely shattered on the floor behind you. You have walked fiercely through the dark, terrifying valley of the shadow, and you have finally emerged into the warm, brilliant light of my presence. I am officially calling you to worship the God of the new beginning. Lift your hands right now, right where you are. Let a loud, powerful sound of profound thanksgiving erupt from your tired soul. You have survived the fire. You have survived the flood. You are still standing, and you are stronger than you have ever been. Listen closely as I reaffirm my eternal, unbreakable commitment to you. I will never leave you. I will absolutely never forsake you. Even when the ground shakes, even when the plans suddenly change again, I am the solid rock that will never move. The massive peace that now guards your heart is not temporary. It is a permanent, heavily armed guard stationed at the door of your mind. You do not have to live in the terrifying fear of losing this new blessing. The enemy has absolutely no legal right to enter this new, protected territory I have given you. You are completely safe inside the strong fortress of my massive love. I am officially commissioning you today to walk out your brand new story with absolute, unapologetic boldness. Stop apologizing for the miraculous favor on your life. Stop shrinking down to make comfortable the people who are intimidated by your divine growth. Step fully into the massive shoes of your true identity. Speak with the fierce authority of a child who knows exactly who their father is. When you walk into a dark room, expect the atmosphere to instantly shift. You carry the absolute, undeniable presence of the living God directly inside your chest. Go out and change the broken world with the exact same radical love that completely changed your own life. Hear my final, resounding promise to you. Behold, I make all things absolutely new. Look at your family, I am making them new. Look at your body, I am making it new. Look at your mind, I am washing it completely clean and making it brilliantly new. Lay your head down tonight in complete, profound rest. The exhausted striving is completely finished. The painful waiting is completely over. You are securely wrapped in the fierce, eternal love of your Heavenly Father. Go forward in spectacular peace, my beloved child. The very best days of your entire life are officially beginning right now. You are now standing firmly in the brilliant newness I have created for you, But there are multitudes still trapped in the dark, decaying graves of their past. As I declare your exhausting struggles completely finished, partner with me to carry this magnificent gospel of new beginnings to every desperate soul on earth. I am personally extending my hand to you, asking you to fund the unstoppable, militant march of my eternal kingdom. Plant your finest seed in this rich, fertile soil, and watch it erupt into a massive harvest of rescued lives and totally redeemed futures. I declare this unbreakable covenant over your generosity. Honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing. This is a divine, urgent mandate. Do not leave this holy encounter without leaving a permanent mark on eternity through your faithful giving. Because you boldly prioritize my house, I will fiercely protect yours, raining down generational wealth and unshakable peace upon your entire family tree. Seal this powerful new beginning with your action today. Click the super thanks, become a channel member, or give generously through the PayPal link in the description. Amen.